Grind don't stop. 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 Grind don't stop.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome
How
to
are
Chew Gum. I'm so excited. Wow. Yes, we're all excited. It's October 8th. Alyssa and I are together again, which has been consistently happening, and it makes my heart smile. And we hope you'll give us a call tonight. I especially hope Theus will give us a call. And if you have questions about sex or deconstruction, anything along those lines, we'll be taking those too. Just please make sure you have a question, where you can form your conversation in a question and we can get straight to the point. Give us a call at 720-619-2288. What else am I missing, Alyssa? My straw
I don't.
is on a runaway again.
I feel like there's like so much that there's one big announcement that I'm really excited to share, and I feel like I don't know. Do we like say it right away or do we wait? I don't know.
I mean,
Do it. Go for it.
Also, we're having ladies' night here because Arden
We
is
are.
producing. And we have very exciting news. Alyssa, I think you should do the honors and tell them.
Okay, our exciting news is we have merch and it's live.
Yay!
And you can, I think the dogs are like literally
Look how
responding to how
cute.
excited I am. It
Amazing.
is so cute. You could go to linemerch.com and you can buy our chewed gum merch, and it also says we have like don't apologize to him merch.
It's so
I'm
great.
so excited.
Arden killed it with this stuff. She did an amazing job. And if you use the
really
code DATH, don't apologize to him, 10, you get 10% off. So I'm very excited for all of the things. This is so new that we don't even have the merch ourselves yet. I am pretty sure next week we'll be able to show you guys the merch. But hopefully next week we can have a little party where we're all wearing our merch together. I think that would be very cute. And please, when you get your merch, because I know you all are getting merch, because this is, first of all, it looks amazing, most importantly.
Mhm.
Second of all, you're helping support the line, which is really exciting. So when you get your merch, please tag Alyssa and I, because we want to see you in your cute merch. That's so fun.
Please. And also, when you do, if you write a message when you're purchasing, it gives you the chance to like write a little message at the bottom. If you write a little message, we're going to read those messages at the end of the show. So sort of like in lieu of a super chat, that can be your fun super chat task today, is to go get merch instead. And it's going to be so awesome. You know what? Also, someone is saying that Bonnie is the best hype dog. Bonnie is back there. She's currently making a little pillow fort for herself. The one that you hear barking is my brother's dog, Pesto. So
Pesto. I actually made pesto today, so that's adorable.
You manifested. I'm so excited about merch. I literally can't wait to actually have it.
Can we put it back on the screen? Sorry, Arden. I just want to talk about
I'm going to live.
I love all of these hoodies. Which color hoodie is your favorite?
I kind of like this like stone color.
Yes.
There
you go.
There. I love that color. But I'm really feeling the blue.
I am too, actually. Can I point this right there? Yeah. Oh, look, it matches my fingernail polish.
Oh my God. Look at
Having
that.
a little moment. I love it. Yeah. I mean, I like all of them, honestly. That's the problem, is that I don't know what to get. Also, you guys can leave super chats. We'll still read those $5 or more.
Yes.
But like Alyssa said, if you get something, please leave a comment on there. It'll give you an option to be able to do that. If you don't want us to read your actual name at the top of the screen, just sign it with whatever you want us to say. And we'll read that on here. And tell us why you picked out the one that you picked out. But these are my favorites.
Same.
Obviously. Is that like terrible of me because I'm the one that said that? But that was like an us moment. That was very much created by both of us. So
and it was like, it's also like what it happened so naturally in the show that now to have it be this thing that like it feels so like, if I feel like every time I apologize to even just like a random person that I don't need to apologize to, I'm always thinking don't apologize to him. I think about it all the time now.
Me too.
It's like a life changing motto.
The life motto. Yeah, we have to get that tattoo still. I kind of really want the pink one of this just because it's very much in your face. But I don't know. They're all cute. That's the thing. All of these color combos and everything. Yeah. It's amazing.
You know what's crazy
Arden,
Arden is the best. And I'm really like loving this yellow, which is so crazy. It's so hard for me. Which is so crazy because I don't really wear yellow.
It looks like it would look amazing on you.
Right?
I mean,
it kind of feels like I can almost wear it.
You can almost picture yourself in it.
This way. It's kind of, oh God, I'm in a mirror image. This is so hard to do. But anyway, I'm so excited. The
so
don't
cute.
Apologize to him. It's so cute.
Can I try the pink
cute.
one? Let's go that way.
The pink looks great on you. It makes your cheeks look nice and pink. I love it. So sweet. So cute. I love it.
So cute. And then do we have other? Yes, the t-shirt, which I am obsessed with the black and pink because I went through, I don't know if you guys remember American Idol, Diana DeGarmo era where pink and black was like the thing. And it was like edgy for a 12-year-old to be wearing black and hot pink. Like, can you imagine putting black and hot pink together, you know, a little rebel moment. So I'm really excited about that. And these adorable water bottles. They're so cute.
That's going to be, the water bottles are going to be what we're sipping on every time we do a show, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and then I don't have to like deal with this straw just like leaping out all over the place. I don't know what's happened.
It's so funny.
Never did that until the last 2 episodes, and now the straw is just like gone rogue. Same brand, same sparkling water. I don't understand. Anyways, very exciting. But we'll be talking about the merch quite a bit tonight, just because we've been waiting so long and we're so proud of it and so excited. And for those that tune in later, we can revisit these designs. And that way you guys can be deciding throughout the episode what you're going to get so that you can get your order in before the night is over so that we can read your messages. Like we said, you can leave a message when you purchase the merch and we'll read it out loud. It's an amazing way to support the line. Also, don't apologize to him, you know?
Also, don't
apologize to him. That video is so funny because I was like dead ass annoyed. You can see on my face. I just go, don't apologize to him. Like, just like dry. It sounds now like I said like some sassy, like, don't apologize to him. No, I just go, don't apologize to him. And then just
literally it was
carry on.
It was so like almost in passing. Like it was so like it was just so natural in that moment that's part of the reason why I love that happened. It was like it just came out of you. I loved it. It was amazing.
Well, and it was like a group inside joke because you guys all caught on so quickly. Arden, are we reading messages out as we go through the show or are we saving them for the end?
Yeah, I'm thinking just kind of as they come in, like between calls, if we have like 2 or 3, you can just go through those and then we can move on to the next call.
Amazing. I don't have the name for this one.
Ooh, that's my bad. I should have included that. Their name is Taishi.
So sorry. Taishi, thank you so much. You are our official like first merch purchasee. I don't know. That's what we call it. It says pink Dath sweatshirt to match my pink The Line hoodie. Oh, I love that so much. But I did generate the Dath hashtag. Y'all want to hook a badass up? Just kidding. Much love. Is that where this originated? I love that started. That is just so much fun that we had this like collective moment that is now in shirt form. So Can't wait to see everybody's merch. Thank you so much for supporting us on there. Should we just go straight into our first caller and then we can get back to chatting some more in between calls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Let's see. Who do we got?
We have got quite a few calls.
We have a theist.
Should we go straight into a theist caller? Let's
Why
do
not?
it.
We're supposed to be prioritizing them, so can't give them any treatment that
Hey,
they wouldn't
Matthew.
expect.
You are
Hello,
live
hello,
on
Eve.
Chewed
Hello,
Gum
Alyssa.
with Eve and Alyssa. What do you want to talk to us about tonight?
Hello.
Yes. So the question in the title was, who is the Christian life good for? And I was thinking about that, and I was telling my wife, I think I should call in because it's good for me and my wife and my kids.
Well, hopefully it's good for everybody if you have access to some sort of truth or evidence for
Right.
this claim. So let's hear it. So you have a stance on who the Christian life is good for, and who would you say the Christian life is good for?
Well, like I said, for us, it's good for it because we're growing in wisdom. We
Oh, you're
grow in
saying, okay, I
patience.
get what you're saying. You're saying it's good for
Yeah.
your specific family. Do you think that this
Yeah.
only applies to your family? I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Not at all. I think anyone who applies what we apply in our lives will also have that growth. And I've seen it too. I've had
So
people
you
that
would
I
say that
talk to
anybody that follows the Christian life, it will be beneficial for them.
100%.
Okay, cool. And by Christian life, what would you define that as?
A life categorized by following Jesus and his commandments.
And how would one go about doing that?
Well, one, they would read what he says and keep them and follow them.
Okay. Do you think that there are any of Jesus's commandments that are not relevant to people?
I can't think of one. I'm not saying there
Okay,
isn't.
cool.
Maybe in our time it's a little bit different. So
Yeah. Have you guys sold everything you have and given to the poor?
no, we have not done that.
Would you think that's one of the things that Jesus said for people to do?
No,
You don't think he said that?
he told the rich young ruler to do that, but he didn't like demand that all
Who
should
do you
sell
Who do
everything
you
they
think
have
that
and give to the poor.
applies to? Do you think Elon Musk should sell all that he has and give to the poor?
Not necessarily. I think if he'd probably do better help if he didn't sell everything he had. But
Okay, so
one
we
of
don't
the
think
commandments
so not that part. Okay, so we don't want to do that.
one of the Christian commandments, real quick, is that if you are rich, you're rich in good works and you're blessing others. So if I were to sell whatever I had right now and gave to the poor, I would be a less help to the poor, and rather than
Sure,
keeping my
I
money
can
and
get
delegating
behind
it
that.
properly.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to kind of gauge where you're at with all of this.
Yeah.
Honoring your mother and father. Do you think every person should honor their mother and father no matter what?
Yes, and when I understand honor your mother and father, doesn't mean that if they tell you to go rob a bank or whatever, you listen to them or whatever. I think honoring your mother and father would be being a person that even if they didn't raise you, you can say that, wow, that person must have good parents. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before.
So what if somebody's
where someone
parents
says-
what if somebody's parents abused them like horrifically? Should they honor those parents?
to a certain extent, I think their
To what
behavior, as
extent?
I'm trying to explain,
To what extent?
right, as their behavior, as I'm trying to explain, will honor them, regardless of what how parents they are and however they are.
Why?
Their
Why is
behavior
that
of
good
being
to honor
wise.
parents that have been abusive?
I'm not saying it's good to honor parents that have been abusive. I'm just saying that if you were to live a life that is good, you will honor your parents regardless. That's a way to honor your parents. But if your parents are abusive and saying, "Oh yeah, you were great for abusing me," I don't think that that falls in line with Christian behavior or Christian commandment. If that makes sense.
Cool. Okay. So loving your enemies, are you good with that? He commanded his
Yes.
followers to show love to even to those that oppose them. So would you apply that just to individuals, or do you think that politicians should take the same approach and love their enemies and just kind of no war,
yeah,
no
100%.
war, like,
Everyone should
for sure, no war.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. You're already being more consistent than a lot of Christians that follow that. So here's where I really want to get to. Do you believe that people should have to learn these things from Jesus in order for them to live a good life?
I think you can only learn it in its complete form from Jesus. Now,
riddle me this.
Possible
What if
that somebody
real quick.
I'm qualifying. Okay, go ahead.
If there were to be somebody that followed these things that you think that you've kind of taken, you're like, well, these are the things I think Jesus cared about and whatever, and these are the things I don't think mattered as much, because you've already said things different than other Christians, because I think each Christian has different interpretations of what they think Jesus really wanted them to do. So if we're going with what you think that Jesus wants people to do, if I find somebody that is doing those things and doesn't believe in Jesus, maybe has never even heard of Jesus, and learned those things from somebody else who did not learn those things from Jesus, is that okay? Is that still
so Jesus came for the sick, right? Before I became a Christian, I was sick. I would consider myself sick spiritually, behaviorally, to ground it. I was sick behaviorally. I had a lot of behavioral issues, right? And Jesus came and cured that. Now, if somebody doesn't have those issues and they believe that they're fine and they never heard Jesus before in their life, Jesus said he came for the sick. I don't believe there's anyone really like that out there, but if there is, then by all means, carry on.
Yeah, so I'm somebody that when I followed Jesus, it was not going well for me. I was literally sick. I had horrific anxiety and depression, and it was causing me I was in the ER several times a month for a year because it was giving me panic attacks, all this stuff. So then as soon as I accepted the fact that I had lost my faith and I moved on with my life, apart from this idea of living a Christian lifestyle or living the Christian life, whatever we want to call it, everything got better for me. And I've been a much more fulfilled and content. All the things that you hear Christians say, like I actually have peace and joy in my life. So for me, the Christian life was terrible. It was not good at all. So how do we determine whether it's a Christian life or whether it's just a few good principles that come from this one very small part of the Bible that we have to extract the good parts from? Because let me tell you, when Jesus says to turn the other cheek, and you tell that to a woman that's in an abusive relationship, that's not good. That lifestyle is not good for her. So if I have to take out very specific little parts and then say, well, that's the Christian life, what's the point when I can do that without having to have a Christian life and I can just live a good life on my own without all the harm, without all the potential misunderstandings?
So you said, and I like that you put in that without all the potential misunderstanding, because you said some things there which we don't have to really cover unless you want to. But if you think that is what's helpful to you, the question was, who is Christianity good for? And from the experience that I have with Christianity, it's good for me. The experience that my wife has with Christianity is good for her. The experience that my kids have with Christianity is good for them. And anyone that I've come in contact with and taught Christianity to, which, believe it or not, there are many people in the church that don't know Christianity.
How do you know what's real Christianity and what isn't?
So real Christianity starts with keeping the commandments of Christ. And
right, but how do you determine, because like I said, you think some things are real commandments and some things aren't, that I can have 5 other Christians call in and say they disagree with you on all counts. So how do we determine what true Christianity is? Right.
So let me explain. So there's only one true Christianity. Anything else outside of that is false. So Christianity teaches that we ought to be one
that's
mind.
Not the
so
answer.
There's multiple Christianity.
Hold on,
I'm just qualifying and then I'm giving the answer. Okay.
Yeah, we need to just get to answers quickly instead of just repeating stuff, because otherwise we can't get a whole call in. Yeah. So how do we determine what true Christianity is? I understand that you think true Christianity is a thing. I understand that you've said what you think true Christianity is. How do we determine true from false Christianity?
You read the scriptures, you read the Bible, and you read it in context, and you take it in its proper context. There's something called hermeneutics.
How do we determine what proper context is? Because I did all of that, and my determination was that it's not true. So what makes you right that you found true Christianity and me wrong?
Right. As I was explaining hermeneutics hermeneutics is a way, a method of studying the scripture that allows
I'm well
you
aware.
to know what is. Yes,
I went to Minnesota when I did this. That's how I became an atheist.
Right. So you know. So hermeneutics is the way that you determine whether you know what is being said is true
So
or
then
not,
I'm
or
right
whatever is
because
being
I
consistent.
studied hermeneutics and I came to the conclusion that there's no good reason to believe any of this stuff. I'm asking how do we tell the difference between if I'm correct in where I've landed, which is that I don't find it believable, or if you're correct, which is that you not only believe the Christian life is good for people, but you believe you happen to know more than any other denomination, more than any other Christian, what true Christianity is. How did you reach that conclusion, and how can you prove to me that you are right? Because if you're right, I want to know that.
Yeah. So how I reached the conclusion is, this is just a personal testimony, and I'll be very quick, is that, I prayed to God to be like Jesus, to be like him, and he showed me that the only way to do that is to trust in him and read his commandments and keep them. So that's how we work our way into knowing the truth, by actually reading what is being said, understanding it in its proper context, and then actually applying it to our lives.
Yeah, but there are people that call this show that disagree with a lot of things that you've said that you believe are Jesus's commandments. That have the exact same story as you, where they tell me when I ask them how they reach their conclusion, and it very often comes down to a personal experience they had where they prayed and God told them something. So which one of you is talking to God?
Yeah.
Which one is the real God? Can the real God please pick up? How do we know? How do I take you differently than any other caller?
So with anything, there's a personal experience. Even if you're learning something, you experience it personally, but then you practically apply it, and then it expresses itself interpersonally, if that makes sense. So other people can see it, and other people can experience it as well. And so when I teach Christianity, other people say, wow, so obviously I get people who disagree with me, but those who are sincere say, no, this is true Christianity, and they can learn it. And I can tell you exactly what true Christianity is without a problem, and biblically back it up.
I'm trying to understand exactly what your point was and what you just said. Are you saying that because you've done the things you feel God told you and it's worked out for you, that's evidence that was true? If I had to sum it up?
Not necessarily. Basically, but like you can practically, what I'm trying to get is that you can practically apply it, and it's evident in your behavior. Christianity obviously is a behavioral
so if
religion,
somebody
right?
behaves, if their behavior is something we would say is noteworthy in a positive way, then that's indicative of them being correct? Because I know a lot of people that believe all kinds of things, including way different versions of Christianity than you, that are really decent people with really great behavior most of the time. So what makes you right and them wrong as far as true Christianity goes, if what you believe is in conflict with each other? Like I have a friend and she is a Christian, and she believes that there's no hell, and you don't have to, that maybe Jesus wasn't even real. We don't know. It's mostly stories, and it's good to follow it. But I don't know if you align with any of that. And she has amazing behavior. She's an incredible person. And clearly the way she's applying what she believes to her life is working really well for her. So how do we determine if she's right or if you're right?
Yeah, so you assumed a lot there. What I was trying to say is that if it's consistent with the teachings of Christ and the behavior of Christ is what I was trying to get at. It's not just
she would say, like, that for her example, beliefs are.
I'm a Christian, right? And I believe my wife should submit. And if I say that to certain people, even people in the church, people will freak out and be like, what do you mean submit and all this stuff? But that's consistent with Christian teaching. So just because people don't like it doesn't mean that it's not consistent with Christian teaching. It doesn't mean that it's not beneficial behavior.
I can tell you right now, I've had this talk a million times on this show, that I was the submitted Christian wife, and it did not go well for me at all. It was, the worst of the worst. It's like, how is that a good thing for women to submit to a husband when she gets mistreated the entire time? And don't forget about that verse that says that it is better for a woman to endure the abuse, and that is how she basically can prove herself to God. So you can't say, it's not supposed to happen to abuse. Yeah, I can actually. Let me see.
Yeah.
Alyssa, do you have anything you want to chime in on while I look up that verse?
I honestly, when we were talking about how following the teachings of Jesus and the Bible would lead you to good behavior, I started Googling the amount of serial killers that believe in the Bible, and there's a lot. And so my point in doing that was just to say that just like there are also serial killers who would identify as being atheist. I don't think that saying that you're going to follow the 10 Commandments means that you are a good person. And
Well,
I think
if you follow the 10 Commandments, you wouldn't be a serial killer.
Yeah, but I also think that there's parts of the 10 Commandments that we pick apart and decide to cherry pick and choose what we want to believe in and what we don't. And so,
Well, that wouldn't be Christianity.
So you follow all of the 10 Commandments all the time, at all times.
I believe so. At least I hope I am.
Do you think that there are some other important things that maybe should have been added to the 10 Commandments, like don't rape people, don't own people as slaves? Instead, God wasted several of them on things about himself because his ego is so big that he needs to make sure that he gets worshipped, not anybody else, that we honor our mother and father.
I think like three of the commandments about God, and then like the rest are about, that's like 3 out of 7. That's for God. God does 3. Yeah. God gets 3.
And those 3, you know what I would replace those with? I would have replaced those with don't rape people, don't own people as slaves.
Well, if you're not lusting after somebody, you're not raping them.
And don't do what I'm about to do throughout the Bible and commit genocide. Like, I would have put those in if I was God.
I see.
Here's the verse that you were asking for. It's 1 Peter 3:1. And I don't know which version you want.
You said endure abuse.
Right. So why? This was the verse that was used oftentimes toward me and other women I know that were in marriages where their husband was not, quote, following scripture and submitting to his wife the way that Christ submits to the bride, or loving his wife the way Christ is supposed to love the bride. You know, that whole verse. And so I was told this verse, which is, wives, likewise, be submissive to your own husbands, that even if they do not obey the word, they, without a word, may be won over by the behavior of their wives. So that was basically told me, you need to behave well, even if he's not submitting himself to the word, so that he'll be won over eventually. You will be an example to him. Instead of being told, hey, if they're not treating you correctly, get the fuck out.
So when the scripture also tells, this is why, because you said you read likewise. So before the likewise, it says, husband, treat your wife, as the weaker vessel, and if you do not do that, your prayers will be hindered, right?
And then it follows up with saying, even if he doesn't submit to that, no, hold on, Matthew. If the next verse says, but actually, even if they don't listen to that, women, you should be the better ones. You should be the ones to endure. Do you not see how that it doesn't matter what's said before? If the woman is told that regardless she should submit, do you not see how that is absolutely priming someone for abuse? And the problem is the Bible is full of things like that somebody can call in and some other person and say God told them that they're following the Bible correctly. So we've come back to the place where we were at originally, which is how do you determine whether you're right with your interpretations, which I am choosing to believe that you're hopefully not abusing your wife and you're not taking advantage of these verses. But how do we determine whether you're right or the person taking those verses as an opportunity to abuse somebody?
And let me be fair. Like, I can see if somebody can twist that and use that as a way. I personally would not suggest anyone stays.
You can just say it to somebody. Okay. So
I would suggest anyone stay in a relationship like that. Doesn't mean that they have to divorce, but that's a whole other story. So how does someone determine? To answer your question, how does someone determine whether that is true? I would say that if the behavior of the person is consistent with the scripture and the other person's behavior is not consistent, right? Let's say you have 2 people who are saying, oh, I believe the truth and I believe this is true. I think Alyssa was bringing it up about the whole 10 Commandments thing, and some people pick and choose, cherry pick and choose the 10 Commandments. If somebody is cherry picking and choosing what commandments of Christ to follow, then they're not obviously you can say they're not being a true Christian.
I would say that you're cherry picking.
There's
Okay,
also
please
some
tell me
of the
where.
10 Commandments include being honest and truthful at all times. Are you honest and truthful at all times?
I like to believe so.
Yeah, I don't even care so
I
much
can't
about the
I
Ten
can't I can't
Commandments
think of a
because you
time
said
where
we're
I'm not.
talking
But if
about
someone wants to say I'm
Jesus.
dishonest, pardon?
So, but back to one of my original things I asked you, I said, Jesus said it's better to sell all that you have to the poor.
That's not what he says.
So here, I'm happy to pull up the verse.
Okay.
But my point is, I can accuse you of the very thing that you're accusing these other people of, and saying that you're twisting things and you're not applying scripture correctly, and that you're not doing.
You can.
If you want to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give to the poor, and then you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. He says this over and over.
There's a narrative there. He's talking to the rich young ruler
Here
there.
he is in Luke. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail. So he's saying not to pursue earthly things. Do you think that it's okay then for somebody like Elon Musk to have the amount of money that he has?
I think if Elon Musk is a Christian, which I don't know if he is or not, but if he is a Christian, as
what about
Christian teach, pardon?
Go ahead.
As Christian teaches, if somebody is rich, that they're rich in good works, that they're what they say, like able to communicate, which means like very generous with their wealth to the poor. And if you're generous with your wealth to the poor, according to Christian principles, which I've seen for myself, is that you will actually receive more. And if you receive more, you can do more to help the poor. That's why selling everything.
Why doesn't God just give straight to the poor?
Have,
why is God taking the time to bless people that are giving to the poor instead of just blessing the poor people directly? Why are there poor people at all, which is a whole nother topic, but I'm not understanding that. Also, what about these pastors who could easily call in and tell me that they have correctly interpreted the Bible, just like you're claiming you have done, and that they are true Christians and you're not, and they have fucking jet planes and drive Bugattis? Like, tell me.
Yeah, it's insane.
Right. So why am I supposed to believe you over them?
Oh, I mean, that's up to you. You just follow exactly what I said. Whose behavior will be more consistent with Christian behavior? If they're just
I don't believe there is such thing as Christian behavior. That's my whole point, Matthew, is that there's a million different interpretations of Christianity. You guys can't all agree on what Christian behavior even is.
It's not that. I know there a lot of the atheists like talk about the telephone game and it's all confusing. It really is not that confusing. Like if you sit there and you read the scripture and you do hermeneutics, you'll be able to understand Christian doctrine and how to behave as a Christian. Are there certain verses, like, for example, David talks about being a bottle filled with smoke in the King James Version? That makes absolutely no sense to someone who doesn't really know the context of that, because what he means is he's just a wineskin dried up by smoke. But
I understand this is like the least interesting to me or anyone else and isn't really going to set us on a good track.
So basically what I'm saying is that interpretation, when it comes to Christian doctrine, you can read it and understand it and practice it, and you will see the results of it, and it will be consistent with that doctrine.
Okay, so you think that if people apply that, as we've discussed, we've gone over this over and over again, you have this one specific brand of Christianity that you think is a real Christian life, that's the one true Christian, all of that. Can I ask, do you believe in the existence of a hell?
Yes.
Okay,
well,
and do you?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think that God is okay with people being gay?
No.
Okay, so Alyssa and I are going to hell, according to your beliefs. And yet you think that it would be beneficial for us to follow a religion that teaches you things like that. Can you tell me why it would be beneficial for me to follow a religion that goes directly against my own personal identity, that is harming nobody?
That's what God requires. You
can think that. Your claim is that it's beneficial. claim is that if I were to follow the Christian life, it would be good for me. Do you see now
Yes.
why that would not be good for me at all?
No.
You don't see that.
No.
Alyssa, anything you want to add?
So I just want to be clear. Are you implying that people who are gay would rightfully go to hell?
Yes.
Oh.
But,
Okay. So
but
you're
Christian
homophobic.
life is good.
Just
So
to be
you're
clear,
homophobic.
I'm also implying that anyone who is
homophobic,
hold on.
and you think this is a good thing. Do you hear what you're saying?
And also, that's
Ju-
not
just to be-
loving everyone. That's not loving
Okay.
everyone, as we started the call with.
Well, if you want to
Why-
Just to
redefine
be
love, which is
clear-
what I'm assuming you're about to do. But yes, go ahead.
Just to be clear, somebody who is lusting after women and a heterosexual relationship, a heterosexual promiscuous relationship, would also be worthy of hell.
Okay, I don't care. I don't care about any of that. First of all, that's wild.
Okay.
But second of all, what I care
Yeah.
about is I'm talking about the fact that the way I was born to where do you feel like you're attracted to women? Let's start there. Are you attracted to women?
I'm attracted to my wife.
Only your wife. Wow. Okay, interesting. Anyways, you're attracted to your wife. Do you think you were born without
Yeah.
attraction for her? Or did you choose? Are you just
No.
choosing to be attracted to your wife?
No, I'm
Is it a
choosing to be
natural
attracted to her.
attraction?
I'm committing myself to her.
So you're not naturally attracted to your wife? Are you naturally attracted to anything, Matthew?
What do you mean by naturally attracted to anything?
I don't know how to make this more
Do
clear.
you feel
Are
like
you
your
straight?
wife?
Matthew, are you straight?
Yeah, I would say I'm straight. I'm more,
you
like I said, I'm more my wife sexual, if that makes sense. That's where my sexual preference is.
Cool. Before you knew your wife existed, were you attracted to men or women or both?
I would say I would be considered heterosexual. I liked women.
Okay, so you're straight. Were you born straight, or did you make a choice to become straight?
I think I was conditioned to be straight.
Okay, I was conditioned to be straight, and yet I naturally was attracted to both men and women. Find them both attractive. So you're saying that because I was born like that with this thing that hurts absolutely nobody at all, that I'm going to hell.
I would probably argue in my mindset, I guess, from my point of thinking, I don't think you were born that way. I don't think anyone's born straight or gay. That'd be very problematic for people who were molested, for people who would be harmed by the same sex, and they think, oh well, they were gay because that person did something to them that caused them to be aroused or something.
Nobody's talking about any of that.
that person is
I'm
gay.
talking about natural attraction.
I'm not sure I agree with such an idea, if that makes sense.
You don't agree with natural attraction, that you're naturally just
No,
attracted to people?
I think that anybody can
I don't
be.
think you're being honest, Matthew. I think you're full of shit.
Okay,
I
I'm gonna explain.
I think that you're not answering, saying things like, I'm only attracted to my wife, and you're dodging questions. And I think it's because you're hearing that you're just actively being homophobic after trying to convince us that following Christianity is good for everybody. And now come to find out, it doesn't make you a good person. In fact, it sounds like it's made you a really hateful person. I hope that you don't actually practice
from your
that
point
hate.
of view.
But it's really gross. If your child came to you and said they were gay, what would you do?
I would have a conversation with them about it.
Great. Can you expound, please?
Yeah, real quick. That's actually I'll do this while I was explaining my statement. Is that I don't believe anyone. I believe anyone can be conditioned to have feelings for the opposite sex or the same sex, especially people who have been abused in a certain way.
We're getting into the weeds here.
Can turn to it. So
We're getting
let me
into the weeds.
back up then.
That's
If you
not
feel like
a
we're getting into the
real-
weeds. If my kid came up to me,
That's not a real thing, Matthew.
That's fine.
If your
my kid came up to
if
me
your
and told
adult
me,
child, let's make this easier, Matthew. If your adult child called you, they've moved out, and they said, my partner, and it's a same-sex partner, is coming home with me for Christmas. Is that okay? What would you say?
We don't celebrate Christmas, but I mean, if they want to come to the house, I don't mind. I want to have a conversation with that person too.
Would you go to their wedding?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
This religion has made you a shit person, Matthew. I'm just going to be totally real with you.
Okay.
If you have a child and you wouldn't go to their wedding because of who they love, that's absolutely depressing. That's really depressing. It's
That's
made
your
you a
opinion.
bad
Matthew,
dad. It is my opinion.
Matthew,
That's
and
your
I've
opinion.
backed it up with all sorts of things. And it would be your child's opinion if that happened to you. So if that
Matthew,
happened to them.
that's traumatic. That is you showing your child that your love for them is conditional, which is not what your God teaches. Your God teaches allegedly unconditional love, and you are actively showing your child that your love for them is conditional.
I can still love my child and I go to their wedding.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even consider it a wedding.
Love. You're totally redefining love, and that's fine. I understand you have to do that in order to back what you're saying. Anyways, we've had this call for 30 minutes. Is there an
objective definition of love?
I think the conclusion we reached, I'm very unsatisfied with your argument of saying that Christian life is good for everyone, because here we've reached a point where it's clearly not. In fact, it's already not good for your child. So I'm going to let you go.
Well, it's good for me, my wife, and my kids.
It's not good for your kids.
It's not good.
It's not good for your kids, and it's not good for your wife, who you insist has to submit to you. I feel bad for your wife, and I understand.
I understand you don't like that. But that doesn't mean that it's not good because you don't like it.
I pray to your non-existent God. I pray to your non-existent God. I just muted you so I can make my final point that none of your kids are gay. I really, really genuinely do, because oh my God, Matthew, they will never speak to you again if this is how you choose to go about this. And I can't believe that you really came into this chat, you had this conversation with us, for trying to be so genuine for 30 minutes, saying that you are a person whose life, your children's life and your wife's life has benefited from this, when in the same breath said that your wife submits to you. Yuck. And you also would not wholly support the lifestyle that your child chooses if they happen to be gay. So I'm sorry. That is just, you have to do some reflecting. I can't believe that it took us 30 minutes to get here. I can't believe that we spent all of this time and that's like where we landed. And I'm tremendously disappointed that that's where it landed. I'm like, truly, I am.
These are just your opinions.
That you spoke to us.
You're still talking.
I'm telling you right now,
while you finish your
Matthew,
point.
I'm telling you right now, I can tell you anecdotally, and I can tell you from research, that if you decide to tell your child that you do not accept whatever kind of partner that they have because of their sexuality, it will absolutely affect their mental health. They will not speak to you again if they have good boundaries, if they have healthy boundaries, or it's going to absolutely be detrimental to their development. So it's not just my opinion. It is the fact. You are going to actually fuck your kid up by oppressing them in that way. And you're showing, I hope to your non-existent God that you don't have a daughter and you're teaching your daughter that she needs to submit to men like that, to men who are openly non-accepting and openly hateful of others. Because that's what you just explained. And it's frustrating because in that entire 30-minute call, you kept a very calm, very like level demeanor. And it's almost like catfishing. It's like you're trying to pull people in and be like, we are so nice and we love everyone and 10 commandments and everyone's happy and everyone's great and yeah. Meanwhile, you hate gay people.
Question. Yeah.
Oh my God. And your wife submits to you. But you're telling me everyone's happy? Fuck out of here. Get out of here.
Anyway, I'm going to let his call go because I'm just kind of not interested in entertaining that. I should have just led with that question. Yeah, that was so crazy. Tough. Also, the part where he says he's only attract, like, when you're not answering honestly, when I ask you like who you're naturally attracted to and you're like, oh, well, I only
My
like
wife.
my wife, and I'm not, like, we don't choose, the dodging questions means you know where
Yeah.
I'm going with this, because it's kind of like
Yeah.
common sense, and you're already trying to avoid engaging in an honest conversation, and that's silly. And also, I'd guess you probably just broke one of the 10 commandments when you answered that question, but
Right.
whatever, not my
Liar.
business.
Absolute liar. And also, someone in the chat said he's a wife-asexual.
That's amazing. I love the
I liked
idea.
it.
That's sweet, and that can be said in a sweet way, but you were clearly just like,
You're
first of all,
lying.
this is not true. You knew what I was asking, which is if you're straight. Anyways, whatever. On to a more positive topic, and then we'll get through some more callers. You guys are waiting so patiently on the lines over here. Thank you so much. We want to read some of the messages that's come in from the merch that you guys are buying. Like, this is amazing.
I know.
There's the cute, amazing merch. Head over there. You can use this code for 10% off. Alyssa, do you want to take the first two, and I'll take the second two?
Sure. So we have
Alyssa's
one
done.
from Angelica Lopez. I adore, we finally have merch. Woohoo! And she bought 2 of the water bottles.
Oh,
So cute in
there's
green.
more than
I
2.
love that in green.
Cute.
Yeah, there's plenty. Another one from Willow. I'm going to wear this every time I add to my body count. Slay! And she got the Don't Apologize to Him in pink. It's so funny.
I love that one so
Oh my
much.
Me too.
Okay, let's see. Randy says yay, and he got the black with the hot pink, which I have a special place in my heart for that one, as I said earlier. Let's see. Oh, and another one. I think have the name.
Yeah,
What?
it was too big for me to fit it all in, but that person's name was Atlas, I believe.
Oh, Atlas.
Ooh.
Thank you, Atlas. I'm so ecstatic about the merch. Can't wait to show it off. Love that. Okay, we've got more. Should I just read them off real quick, and I'll let you get the next few? We've got Jonathan says, the common cold is a terrible thief. It's too easy to catch. Love it. And Jonathan got all of the things. Let's see, the hoodie in that cement color. That's really cool.
Mhm.
The Don't Apologize to Him shirt in black, which is awesome. The black, look at you guys getting all this stuff. I'm jealous.
God.
The black and hot pink one, and then the water bottle. So cute. And then we have another one from Alice. Love you guys and what you do so much. Keep up the amazing work. Of all the flavors on the line, y'all are amongst the sweetest. Aw. Thank you, Alice. And Alice got the pink Don't Apologize to Him crew neck. I have a feeling that's going to be a popular one.
Yeah,
And then
for sure.
I don't know that I'm supposed to be announcing Jimmy's stuff that sold as well, but we'll give him a shout out because the demonetized sticker, the demonetized, which I think is hilarious. And then
so funny.
We have Chris said, how do you cope with the loss of relationships that happen after becoming an atheist or after coming out, particularly with parents? And Chris got the hot pink and black. So let's see. How do you cope with the loss of relationships that happen after becoming an atheist? I mean, that's a long process. I always refer people to recoveringfromreligion.org. They have amazing resources over there. And for me, I ended up no contact with my family for a bit, but then I was able to, like, through therapy, have relationship with them again. I understand that that's a privilege, that not a lot of people are able to do that. And I think learning how to grieve properly, which I've still had to do even with the relationships I've maintained because they've changed so much. So I had to grieve my expectations. I had to grieve what they were. So I highly recommend. I just read a bunch of books on grief. That honestly helped me so much. American culture does not do a good job at teaching us how to grieve because most of us were just told, you'll see somebody in heaven someday. And then, like, that's it. So that's my advice.
I think it's also helpful to just keep engaging with communities like this one, where there are people where you can make, friendships, and even if you don't make like actual real friendships, like there are people that I see in the chat every single week, and like it makes me feel good to like see these same people's names come up, and like this is like a big part of my human experience as a community now. Like I love the people who watch this show, and like they mean so much to me, and so I feel like even just being here helps bring that sense of community around and support.
I love that. We've got 2 more, and then we'll get to these calls. We have so many calls coming in tonight. I love it. I'm so happy. So then this one is from Jason. It says, oh man, this is a like joke that I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it justice. Okay, it says, Luke, Dad, you cut my hand off with a lightsaber. Vader, sorry, not sorry. Hashtag Darth Vader. I love that. Hashtag chewed gum, hashtag down with the patriarchy. And Jason also went all out, got 2 water bottles in both colors, which is amazing. Can't blame you for that. And then the Don't Apologize to Him shirt in black. This is turning out to be popular too. And the chewed gum in black and hot pink. A crowd fave as well. Thank you so
Love
much,
it.
Jason. And then last one, I don't know how to say this name. Lagareth.
That's how I would say
And there's no message unless I'm not seeing it. But they got the, what is it? The ivory chewed gum hoodie, which
Pretty.
I really, that's classy.
Classy.
Anyways, love it. Alyssa, do you want to pick our next caller?
Yes, I do. Let's see. Okay. Okay. We actually. Oh man, we have a few that are interesting. We have 2 that are theists, but I might want to just like take a hot break from a
I
theist.
love that.
Okay, I kind of want to call
we can
in
do
Malcolm.
the theists after that. Let's
Okay.
see.
Let's talk to Malcolm. I just pulled Malcolm in.
Hi there.
Hi, Malcolm.
Hi. So I recently ran across just a meme about the pro-choice argument, and it spawned a thought that I've been chewing on, and the conclusion it made me come to is, I think quite often we talk past theists when we're talking about the pro-choice, pro-life argument, or anti-choice argument. And the way that we're talking past each other is intractable because from the common position that atheists and secularists argue from, there's no real substantial human harm happening when an abortion happens. That the life that is being ended is not yet developed to the point of being considered a human being. It could become one, but it isn't one yet. But from their perspective, there's a life there. It's already a fully imbued soul into something, and they don't have to consider the specifics of what the heck that even means, but that they have that position. So it makes it so that when we're talking to them about this, bodily autonomy doesn't even matter because, well, you're still murdering a soul. You're destroying a soul or causing it to go to hell or whatever they believe happens there. So I have been trying to come up with something that addresses the idea of a pro-choice stance that fits within a Christian framework. Because I think that you have to reach them where they're at before you can adjust them, before the conversation can be productive to move in other ways. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, totally.
So I found that the sticking point over the idea of a soul and whether a soul exists in this fetus is really the thing that we should be addressing. So the argument that I have comes with premises that address all of the omni-max traits of God, and then has a conclusion based off of that. So is it okay if I just give the hopefully quick version of that?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Are you saying, are you giving them the whole belief in a soul thing, or are we saying that we should get them to prove that a soul exists? Because that's kind of the next step I would take.
I think since they're already convinced that a soul exists, drifting them off of that notion is difficult because it's sort of, it's part of the identity that they have on how the universe works. Like they have it as a currently intractable position. I know people can be argued out of this stuff, but I think rather than trying to get them to move off of that position, that if you can just say, I can grant you all of that. I can even grant you God's existence, and I still think you're wrong about abortion.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I'll just go ahead and give you my like very cynical point of view. It's that not even the Bible is anti-abortion.
Sure, yeah.
So my problem is like when I can't even convince them using their own Bible because they've been it's been politicized when this wasn't even an issue, not that long ago. So, but yeah, I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Yeah, let's hear it.
Avoid that problem because rather than talking about does the Bible specifically address the idea of abortion, and we could bring up the adultery test about whether the fetus is removed, that does exist. But since most Christians don't really read the Bible and don't know anything about that you can just address the idea of the God that they actually believe in, which really just is predicated on the omnimax qualities. So, premise one, God is omnipotent and can do anything. If he wants a thing to have a soul, if he wants a soul to exist in a place, he'll put it there because he can. And if he doesn't want there to be a soul in a place, there will not be a soul where he doesn't want a soul because he can decide that too. And that just comes with being all powerful. If God is all loving, then he would not want a soul to be flushed directly to hell with no possible way to avoid it. And if God knows everything, then he knows when an abortion will take place. And he knows exactly whether or not there would be any possibility of that life continuing. So concluding from all of those three things, if there's going to be an abortion, God has no reason to waste a human soul on a cluster of cells that is going to be aborted and will not result in a life that can freely choose or not choose him.
Yeah. So I think that's a great argument personally. Here's the problem, because I've actually made this exact same argument for the existence or for talking about hell, saying that why would an all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful God create a being knowing? Because if he knows everything, then he knows that if he creates something, it's going to hell or not. So, for example, the people that believe I'm going to hell, then they have to believe that God created me and knew before he even created me that he's creating me just to send me to hell. So he's basically predetermined, he has, that I'm going to hell. And they still can't wrap their minds around these arguments. They will find their ways in and out. I think that's a good one to use on people who are willing to be honest, who haven't really thought about this before. I love that. I think that's a great place to start because that would have worked on me. That's what led me out of this, is starting to think that way. So anyways, that's my feedback.
I also appreciate the meeting people where they're at mentality, because I think at a certain point, especially when it's something that is like a big ticket for this election specifically, it's like, I am not here to make an argument to convince you to no longer believe in souls or no longer believe in God, but it is a priority that women have access to safe healthcare. And so meeting you where you're at and saying okay, I know I'm not my goal here is not to convince you out of believing that souls exist, but hear me out on this thought process. Take a walk with me. Let's talk it through. I really appreciate that level of thinking, because it's sort of like you're taking the win where you can. You're taking this, and this is a massive win if you can get it, to get someone on the side of being
I thought
pro-choice.
You said taking the wind, and I was like, I've never heard that saying. I get it now. Anyways, I'm following now.
Yeah, I like this this thought process. People in the chat have sort of mixed opinions where they're I don't want to defend that souls exist if I don't believe that. But I think the point is that you're at least pulling someone over on an issue that directly affects so many other people that are not just you and not just the person you're talking to. Then I think I like this line of thought, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I will keep that in mind the next time I have to have one of these conversations, for sure.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
I don't
thanks
know
so much for calling.
I think there's some stuff that can be added to it for sure, or addressing and overcoming obstacles of people saying, okay, but what if the soul is not destined for hell automatically? Like, what if that is like that? There's some gray areas that I think might be interesting to probe about someone's particular beliefs.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, you may have opened a really good conversation, and now you can get them to start to think out of the box of their own beliefs rather than just didactically, like, I know exactly what I already think about this, because it prompts for more information rather than being a thought-stopping cliche. And that's really the thing that I try to avoid, is letting people slip into places where they've already figured out the box that the thing you're saying goes in, and so they don't have to consider it ever again.
Sure. I think the problem you're going to come up against with that argument, and why I just usually don't even engage with Christians on this topic, because they're not being honest in it at all. And at the end of the day, they just care about controlling a woman's body. And that's the whole thing that's where I take the argument, is about controlling people's bodies, and that we shouldn't be able to legally decide what people's organs do, whether that's to keep an adult alive or a fetus. So, but anyways, what I was going to say is, I think what you're going to come up against is they are going to say it's still wrong. Like, even if God's looking, because they believe that most of them you talk to, and they believe the aborted baby goes straight to heaven, which in that case, it's like, why do you even care? That's supposed to be better for them anyways.
Yeah, isn't that a good thing?
Which I've tried that. Right. I've tried that argument before too. And so what you're going to come up against is them saying it's still wrong for the mother to do that. She's still committing murder, which they don't know what the term murder means, apparently. Even if we don't agree on what life is, but murder is a legal term. So anyways, that's what you're going to come up against. But I like where you're going with it all. I think you should try it. Maybe call us back if you have like an actual conversation with somebody with this, and you have some breakthrough and you get somewhere with it.
Yeah, let us know.
I'll do that.
Thanks so much, Malcolm.
Thank you, Malcolm.
All right, bye-bye. All right, and I realized I forgot announcements, so I'll get through those real quick. Alyssa, I don't know if you want to, after that, read the we just got more.
We did?
More messages. I think we did. I think there's a couple more. So we've got the hang up tomorrow with Matt Dillahunty and Mandisa Thomas. That's going to be amazing. I'm going to have to try to listen to that one. Takis on Thursday with Luxander and the beautiful Arden Hart, who is producing for us tonight. I'm so glad we've gotten to like kind of hang out today, because we had a Zoom call earlier. It's so great.
I know.
And then, because Jimmy is amazing, he's making sure that we have shows every night leading up to the election. So we have a 'Cause I Wanna on Friday night with Jimmy and Forrest, and then a 'Cause I Wanna on Saturday night with Jimmy and Arden. And then the Sunday show with Paul Enns and Matt Dillahunty. Then the Sunday show AD with Seth Andrews and me. I'm so excited to host with Seth again. We did it one time before. And then that brings us to Monday with Skep Talk with Erica Gibbon and Aaron Adair. And then Tuesday, Alyssa and I are back together again. So,
yay.
Alyssa, do you have our other merch things? I'm so excited to hear these.
Yes, I do. Okay, so we have, and by the way, you can go to, is it the Line Merch or Line Merch?
Linemerch.com.
Linemerch, okay. Linemerch.com. And you can find all of our merch there. And we have some new orders with some messages, so I'm going to read them now. We have one from Cody, who got the white water bottle with the orange chewed gum on it, and said, "Here for women." Yeah, here for women.
Thank you, Cody.
I love it. A simple message. Carla got the chewed gum hoodie with in pigment plum, which is a really cool color. It almost looks like gray plum. It's really nice. And her message is, "Keep up the good fight in solidarity." Thank you, Carla.
Thanks, Carla.
We got one from Michael, who got the "Don't Apologize to Him" crew neck in pink. I love the show. I need to add more pink to my wardrobe. Yay.
Yes. Hopefully I'll be matching with you next week.
Yes. And Tim got the chewed gum logo shirt in black, and the message is, "I love the line and I love chewed gum. Thank you all for doing what you do." Thank you, Tim. And thank you, everyone.
This is so exciting. I don't know why I thought like two people were gonna buy stuff.
I know. It's so hard when you like put something like that. Yeah, putting something like that out there is weird.
Yeah, I love that you guys are buying multiple things because then it gives
Crazy.
me an excuse to buy all of the things too, so that I can be matching with all of you. So I was going to make myself pick one thing, and now I'm like,
Exactly.
guess I have to get all of it. Oh man.
Awesome.
Okay, should we get through the rest of these calls?
Yes,
see.
we should.
Let's
I also want to
talk
draw
to John.
attention just so that no one thinks that I have like a. This is Anthony Bourdain. Just to be so clear,
The
I'm at my
realist,
brother's
realist
house.
saint.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at
So
my
cute.
brother's house, and this is very my brother to have.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay, let's chat with John. Hey, John, you are live with Eve and Alyssa on Chewed Gum. What do you want to talk with us about?
Sup? This is like my first time actually watching the show, like through and through. I've caught a bit before, so I don't know how much in line this is with like kind of the topics, but I was, at least from my own personal experience, and I don't see how this wouldn't be that like people who realize like how terrible life can be and are really focused on that, and like realize that like, man, even doing the right thing, I could be tortured and murdered and I'm still going to do that anyways. That's just like, like a really attractive quality for people to have, I think, in relationships even. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree if I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that people that choose to not harm others, even though they know there's potential for them to be harmed, make the world a better place?
I guess generally that's a good way of putting it. I mean, but also, I'm
Yeah,
not like
I
writing
totally
off
agree.
people who are like, I'm not, I have no perfect answers for anything, but I also like, cause I do think that people who go in the military, like, I do think that those are generally, I don't know, generally, but I guess, yeah, well, generally admirable people. And I think there's a reason why they're more likely to be.
You think men in the
Christian.
military are generally more admirable because they're in the military and they're Christian? Because I was married to a military Christian, and I will tell you that he's the least admirable man I've ever known.
I'm sorry to hear that, but that's actually not, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that
Okay.
people who are Christian are more likely to enlist. No, you're fine. You're fine. I was saying that people who are Christian are more likely to enlist. I think that's one of the reasons why that people that there's a lot of
so
Christian
what do you
men
consider
in the military.
what do you consider makes a man admirable? Let's get to that before we can like move forward.
I think strong, generous, competent,
Strong
and serve
physically
people who love
or
him.
like mentally or emotionally? What do you mean?
Any one of those, honestly, because I know people got different strokes, but you got to make the best of what you have.
I have a friend that has ALS, so he's not very physically strong at all, and yet I find him to be extremely admirable. So I don't know that I can agree with you on that one, but let's keep going.
Constitutionally, yeah. Oh,
okay,
sorry,
so
I don't know
strong
the person,
in general.
what I was imagining was that.
Okay, got it. Keep going. I'm listening.
No, I guess that and I when I was an atheist, I guess like mostly what I was really concerned about was having like as much pleasure in life as possible, and that I guess you're saying this goes against what your own experience, but that got me in a lot of trouble because I would do things that were good for me like here and now and not good for me later in life, or maybe even good for me after I die in a way, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of behaviors, your conscience will eat at you, because even though it's not hurting anything right now, it's like, well, that'll hurt something down the line after I'm gone. And now I feel like I have nothing to live for. And I think that oftentimes, I think that if people don't have something that's larger for them to live for, I think it can be hard. And then also you have to deal with the problem, like, well, if you're going to solve that problem one way or another, and a lot of the things that people live for that are bigger than them oftentimes end up being like a mixture of like either communism or fascism, and both those things I think are like destructive. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so back to military men being admirable. What do we do with the studies that show that military men are at higher risk of committing intimate partner violence?
I don't know. I guess there's probably a few things in there. I'm not familiar with that, but I would imagine that like one thing you have to look at just probably more aggressive people going in that line. I'm guessing you also probably have a lot of broken people, and I'm guessing you also have a lot poorer families. So I think we have to take those into account.
Totally. I mean,
Overall,
all of I and PTSD obviously creates all kinds of substance abuse issues, which we also see a high
alcoholism is
amount
probably
of
big.
in military men. So I'm just confused what your main, like, maybe let's get back to the beginning of the call. What is your main point? Like, if you had to sum it up, are you calling in to say like something specific, or I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly and not arguing something that you're not saying?
No, you're fine. You're fine. I guess maybe I can boil it down to two things. I think people who live for something bigger than them, that's a desirable quality. It's desirable in a partner, and it's just desirable for your own life satisfaction. And two, you should be careful what that thing is, and that it actually maps out in a way that'll be fruitful for eternity, I guess.
I don't believe eternity exists. Do you have any evidence that eternity exists, and why I should shape my reality now around this idea of this thing that we don't have evidence for?
So, are you thinking about, like, when I said eternity, do you mean like that there's years after you die, or are you talking about like heaven?
I don't believe in an afterlife. We'll put it that way. So I don't, if you mean like when I'm dead, like a legacy, as far as what other people think, I think that's admirable, but I don't think somebody has to, I don't even know that I think it's admirable, actually. Like, people can live good lives. If somebody lives a life that doesn't harm others as much as possible, and where they find moments of joy and love and whatever it is they're looking for in life that isn't harming other people, then I think that's great. I don't understand why, like, what do you mean by something bigger than them? I don't believe in any sort of deity. I don't believe in an objective purpose or meaning in life. And I'm really proud of the life I'm living, and I'm very happy about it. And it's really working for me. So what would your argument be for somebody like me?
Well, I mean, I would say, like, I don't know you. But I think generally, like, I think that we all have a life, and we've been given it. And I think that if you don't do something productive with it, I think you feel probably a little regret. Like, like that I could have, used this time to make my life better for other people. And I was just,
sure. Okay.
I oftentimes think of society as, like, I mean, think about it like this. I don't know, this might get kind of lost, but I always think of society, like, people oftentimes use like analogies of the body for the society. And I actually think that that's literally true. That, like, and I think that in order to be properly integrated, it was like that society is like a body, basically.
Okay.
And I guess I think that, like, you're naturally designed to feel your most to feel like you're in the right place in the right time when you're helping other people and contributing to them.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really great. But sorry, Alyssa, you go ahead. And then I
just have a question. So one of the things that I think is interesting about this line of thought is it feels like you need the fear of consequence that is driving your good decision making. And so if you are religious, your consequence would be not being able to go to heaven, or having some sort of like wrath of God. But there are real life consequences for actions as well. So like you were saying that while you were an atheist, you were doing things that weren't good for you and weren't good for your body. And now that you have the consequence of God, then now you feel like you're making better choices. But it's interesting to me that so let's say that that one of the things that you were doing when you were an atheist was you were smoking cigarettes, and you were smoking them every day. And now that you are a Christian, or I'm not sure exactly how you identify, but now that you are religious, you have decided that you want to, lead a healthier lifestyle because you want to, whatever. I don't know. Why would the natural consequence of the actions that you're making that are indulgent or that are playing into your desires, why is the natural consequence not enough for you to make better choices, is my question.
I guess I don't see, like, I can't speak about anything after death at all. But like oftentimes in the Bible, when they're saying what the punishment, or when they're describing what the punishment looks like, they just say like sorrow and gnashing of teeth. And like I guess I think that like hell and heaven are basically qualities that you can feel in this life, I guess is what I'm saying. So like I'm saying that like when you make bad
That's kind of what Alyssa is saying. So if something is, if something's causing negativity in your life, then generally like that is a good motivation to no longer do it. I'm curious.
Yeah, and also you have the positive on the other side. A good vision of what your life could be, and a hell vision of what all those behaviors lead to if you follow them.
Right. So I'm not disagreeing with you that there aren't people that exist that won't make good choices without an invisible threat. Clearly that's true. I think it's really sad. I hope that they continue believing whatever stuff they believe, if that's the only thing keeping them from being a horrible person. But I don't think that we should take that as being okay. I actually think we should look at that and say that doesn't make somebody a decent human being. Here's my example for you. Of the 4 most important relationships I've ever been in and had, 3 of them were Christians, and one of them had major substance abuse issues. Actually 2 of them were cheating on me, all sorts of stuff, and they were always in an internal conflict with themselves, and it was very toxic relationships, all of this stuff, and they wholeheartedly believed in a bigger purpose than themselves. I watched them just in turmoil over it because they're doing all these things that are in conflict with that. But they believed in God, and they were praying, and they were doing all the things, and they were reading the Bible, and they're going to church, and they're ministers, and they're military men, and they're all the things. And now I am married to somebody who has been an atheist his entire life. He doesn't believe in an objective purpose or meaning. He's an incredible music producer, and that's his purpose in life because he decided it is. Nobody else did. He knows that he jokingly says, he's like, I just play piano. I'm just a piano player. He's not giving himself enough credit. But to his point, what he does doesn't really matter. So how come that is by far the most healthy person, the most integrous man, like all of that, when he doesn't abide by any of the stuff that you're saying?
I mean, I guess I would say, first of all, I agree with your first point. And I think that's what it reminds me of is the saying that most morality is just cowardice. And by the way, it wasn't like I suddenly like woke up and realized like, oh, like bad decisions are like going to lead me to hell. Like that's really not what happened. Like really, I think it was more having a more mature understanding of the stories of the Bible and realizing that it's like, oh, it's actually painting like a map. Like pride does always lead to a fall, and that always happens in my own life, you know, or like when people get too confident and think they can do anything, like that's when kind of the worst things happen. And that, well, anyways, I don't want to get into that, but that's like an example of that's an example of what happened. But to what you're saying, I mean, when you say that like your now partner, you know, produces music, but also says it doesn't matter, I almost looked at with the same view of like someone who professes to be a Christian and like molest kids. It's like, well, what you say doesn't really bear in mind to what you're actually doing. And there's all sorts of lines in the Bible that like what you say doesn't matter. It's more about what you follow. I mean, they say that you need to do both. But like, so if he says that music doesn't matter, I'd be like, hey, like it matters probably to a lot of people. And those people are going to each encounter 1,000 people, and it's going to encounter and it's going to ripple forever. And we're just as real as anything else in the universe.
Right. I can follow that, but that's subjective meaning. It's not because he thinks by doing that it's pleasing to some God. Because my exes,
there is no objective meaning.
Actually, cool. Well, then we're gonna agree if you're not saying that there's some objective meaning and objective truth that we're all supposed to be following that's a God, you know? I guess I'm still unclear on what your main position is.
I say that I'm a person who I'm trying to be a Christian. I haven't read all the Bible. I don't think, not even most of it yet. Although I know a lot
You
of the
should do
stories.
that. You should really do that.
I've gone pretty far, and frankly, most of the stuff that I've heard that it says in the Bible it doesn't say that at all. Like I was having a conversation with, I think his name was John on the show, and I actually had more time to like deconstruct a lot of things that he was saying. He was just saying things that like are not true at all. Like he said that in Jacob's, I mean, I already knew, I just have time to unpack all the things that he said. But he said in Jacob's ladder, or when the angel wrestles with Jacob, that God grabs his cock. He was talking about how, he said that there's no like place in the Bible in the Old Testament where like a woman's word rules over a man's. He said that like in Deuteronomy that there's justification for rape in Deuteronomy, and like no, like none of those things are true. But it's just, anyways. It's a complicated book. It's very complicated, but once you kind of get
isn't it wild that it's supposedly the word of God is complicated? It's like, did he intentionally make it complicated? Are we just stupid and therefore he intentionally just like made us stupid? It's so interesting when that's the response. Like, oh, it's really complicated. Let me tell you, if I was God, first of all, I wouldn't use a book as my method of communication. But if I were to have to use a book as my method of communication, I would make it one thing, crystal clear. And you know what? One of the first things I would say in there, based off of history and based off of everything else that happens in the Bible, I would make sure I put in there, don't own people as slaves, don't rape women, those kinds of things, you know? And it's like so funny that those things are not clearly in there.
I mean, I would say like the book is written 2,000 years ago. And I would say that like, once you understand that like many of the things are actually repeating the same pattern, it's fleshing out like one story really. Like in a way, like Christ is an elaboration of Jacob, elaboration of Abel, an elaboration of David, kind of combined into one person. And that's why they say he's the spirit of the Old Testament, like distilled into a single person. And you can kind of use his life to understand the other stories a lot better, I think.
But do you understand what
like the reason why it's not, there is a line in Deuteronomy that says that like, if a man sleeps with a woman where her screams can't be heard, he will be stoned. And they don't say like specifically, they don't give like just like rape outright, because I think rape, especially for those cultures, and our culture, is just like, it's outrightly obviously morally abhorrent. So it's useful to just like know, like anthropologically, like where they're.
Do you think it would have been beneficial for a God to be like a little bit more clear about maybe the entire Bible?
I don't think there's any.
You don't think it would have been beneficial?
About rape. I mean, there are people who rape, but I've never met a person that's like, hey, actually, rape is a good idea, really. Except for like very
typically rapists, like, when they're in the middle of doing it, absolutely think that. So.
No, exactly. But like they normally like. Do you understand what I'm saying though? There are rapists. I'm not saying there aren't rapists. But like, I don't think
anyways, but that wasn't my question. My question is, do you think it would have been beneficial for the God of the universe to be more clear with his supposed instructions? Would it have been beneficial? Yes or no?
I mean, would it have been beneficial? I mean, he's been very clear in my own life. I mean, like at first, like I had.
Do you think it would have been beneficial to the rest of society for the Bible to be less complicated? Then you guys wouldn't have had to break into 40,000 denominations. Maybe people wouldn't have owned slaves for almost all of human history. Do you think it would have been beneficial for the Bible to be more clear about whatever it is you think God was saying?
I don't think that everyone having one opinion on something is necessarily a good idea. To what you're saying, like I actually think to some degree, it's actually a good idea.
Do you think that the Bible is truth?
From what I've read, yeah, I'm willing to put my faith in it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Do you think it would be beneficial for other people to believe that as well?
Yes.
Cool. So then do you think it would be beneficial for the Bible to be more clear about what the truth actually is?
I don't know what you mean about more clear.
More easily understood, where you guys maybe don't have 40,000 denominations of Christians because you can actually sit down and go over all the details and reach a shared conclusion that you have found absolute truth.
I mean, a lot of the time
Consistent
the
answers.
reason why it's
I would love
confusing is 'cause
I would love that every time I talk to a Christian, they have the same answer. Because right now you're already in conflict with another Christian caller we had. You both have different interpretations of the Bible and ways of applying them to your life. So I'm asking, do you think it would have been beneficial for the Bible to be more clear so that all of you could determine more easily what it's saying?
So I guess I think, I mean, some of the stories are kind of mysterious, but like that's just because there are complicated lessons.
I really wish
the
you would just
world.
answer my question, because
Well,
I think we
let
can
me
both
give an
agree that
example.
it would be more beneficial. It shouldn't take a yes or no question shouldn't take an example. Do you think it would be more
it was clear for the people
beneficial?
who wrote it. It's on us to do something about it now, which I'm trying to do.
Do you think God saw that coming?
I don't know. God gets surprised, and sometimes they say he knows everything, and sometimes they say he's like learning things. That's too big of a question for me to answer.
Why don't we know the answer to that? Maybe, perhaps because the Bible isn't very clear on it. Would it be beneficial? Would it be beneficial for us to know? Could God have let us know in the Bible if he knows everything or if he learns things sometimes? Would it be beneficial
I'm not sure if that's
for us to
relevant
know
for us
that?
to know.
I'm going to let Alyssa talk to you because you're not answering my question, and I kind of don't really have anything to say once my question is just continually not getting answered. So, Alyssa, anything you want to add?
I'll say that oftentimes the Bible seems more obscure than it actually is because it's not using a way of speaking that we normally use.
How do you know that?
I mean, because like people, they weren't thinking like scientists. Like John the other day when he was describing like Adam and Eve, he was like, they surgically took out a rib and then made another person of it. And I'm like, no, they're not surgeons. And I actually misspoke. The word for rib is just the same meaning as side. They're just saying he took something and split it in half.
I don't care about a call you had with somebody else. You're now talking to Eve and Alyssa, so I care about this conversation. I don't want to argue with somebody else's argument.
But I understand what you're saying.
What paradise is
however,
because we're animals.
I think the point though, John, is if the Bible were meant to be taken to be true, and God is meant to know how his little creations are going to behave. He knows everything. Why wouldn't he have been able to either create a Bible that would have been clear throughout all of time? And or why would he have created people whose language was able to evolve to the degree that they would not understand his word any longer? I think, John, I think that where you are in your journey is an interesting place to be, because I think that it kind of reminds me of when you are starting a diet and you're so excited and you're like you're like juice cleanse. The first couple of days, you're like, I feel great. And then you get to like day 3 and you're like, if I don't have a fucking Kit Kat bar, someone's head is going through glass, you know? And I feel like
I'm on a diet right now. It sucks.
You're sorry, what?
I should tell me about it. I'm on a diet right now and it sucks. It's good, but it also sucks. It's hard.
So you know how when you're in the beginning, you're on this like high of like, okay, I'm going to do the thing. And I sort of feel like that's where you are in this journey. And I think that as time goes and you get deeper and deeper into these types of conversations, because I think it's interesting that you're at this point in your faith and you wanted to call in and talk to us about it. And so I feel like as you get deeper into your faith, I hope that you keep some level of skepticism and some level of asking questions and welcoming conversations with people who disagree with you, because I'm curious to see how your journey in faith evolves. Because I think that where you are in this is still sort of in like the exciting exploratory phase. And I am curious to see if as you continue to get deeper into the actual text of the Bible with this thought of like maybe a little skepticism along the way, if you're still going to believe all of these things purely based on faith, especially being a person who was previously identifying as being atheist and kind of like identifying as being sort of indulgent, which to me, I mean, it's very possible that like those are behaviors that we all have like in our late teens and early 20s. And then we just sort of evolve. We get tired and we don't want to go out until 3 a.m. and whatever. And you don't need to have that evolution be alongside this religion. And I want to also encourage you to consider that the many interpretations that people have of the Bible and the lack of clarity in the Bible leads to these insane conflicts and violence that we have in the name of God. Like, for instance, earlier in the show, we were talking about how Ted Bundy was a believer in God. He was part of the FLDS. And so he believed in Jesus, he believed in God, he believes in the Bible. And that's Ted Bundy. And so I'm feeling like the lack of clarity in the Bible, obviously it's like a very extreme example, but the lack of clarity that we see in the Bible and the way that people interpret it over and over again can lead to violence. And it can lead to more than, I want to lead like a healthier, more balanced lifestyle. You don't need God to do that for you. There are natural consequences to the alternative.
Right. And for example, we had people we had plantation owners who owned other human beings as slaves using the Bible to justify that. And they had all kinds of verses to back that up. It was really helping them out. In fact, they printed what's called slave Bibles that were supposed to basically indoctrinate and brainwash these other humans into believing that they should stay in their position that they were in. And then we had abolitionists who also used the Bible and used their faith, thank goodness, for the right thing, which is for the human rights of other humans. And all of that was able to be done because the Bible is so unclear. And wouldn't it have been beneficial for the Bible to be very clear so that those people that owned other humans couldn't have used the Bible to justify it? Wouldn't that have been nice? It's a shame God didn't see that coming. Or maybe he didn't care. I don't know. That's a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just like recap, like I decided, I stopped believing in God when I was in about 5th grade. And then when I was 18 or 19, I decided that I was going to believe in God. And now I'm 25. So it's been a little bit. It's not something that like doesn't not occupy my mind. Huh?
I'm curious, what do you mean by you decided you were going to believe in God? Because I didn't decide to stop believing in God. It happened to me. I lost my belief.
And I wasn't the same thing actually happened to me when I stopped believing too. I was like, wait a minute, like, why? No one here knows anything. You guys are just like older, stupider versions of me.
But back to my question though. What made you, did you make a decision to start believing in a God, or did you actually start believing in a God?
I mean, it's complicated. I mean, it was started off as a decision, and I don't think I actually started to really feel what someone might call like the presence of God until like maybe like 2 years later or something like that.
Right, but believe,
I think it was almost like a musical experience. Like it felt like, oh, like I hear the music of reality itself. Like everything's kind of coming together weirdly.
Yeah, but I can't choose to believe something. I couldn't choose to believe in a God right now. Just like I couldn't choose to believe in Santa Claus. You would have to convince me. So are you convinced of a God, or are you just making a decision to act as though you're convinced?
No, I mean, there's been enough insane things happen in my life where I'm way, way convinced.
So your confirmation bias. So your confirmation bias has done its job. That's concerning that you made a decision first and then you found the convincing things. It's the opposite of how it should go. There should be reasons to believe something. What?
I was basically convinced on logical grounds initially. That at least that God exists.
So you were convinced it wasn't. it wasn't a choice. Okay, I just was confused. Anyways, John, I hate to end the call now when we're still getting nowhere, but we unfortunately have other callers to get to. If you want to call back sometime with maybe like a little bit more clear of an argument, I think that would help us too. I would be interested for you to maybe call back with the same topic, but like a little bit more clear. My question, which we still didn't get to the answer, is would it be more beneficial for the Bible to be clearly understood by all? I would love to hear your thoughts on that next time if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to call in, we can. We don't have to. We can talk about anything along those lines. I'd more like to know about like the Bible in general. So if you want to, figure out where you stand on all of that and call back sometime, I'd love to have that conversation.
Thanks. It was great talking to you both. You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Jen.
Good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
That was so interesting. I also
learned nothing.
I have to, and John, I was going to say I'm sorry, but I'm not going to say I'm sorry because apparently this man has called him
apologize
before.
to him.
Yeah, and apparently he's called him before and had some like anti-trans conversations.
Fuck, I wish I knew that before.
I know. It was like I was really bored. People in the chat are saying that I looked really bored. At a certain point, I was like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But I said that he kind of sounded like Owen Wilson, and and at some point he said, "We all have a life, and we're just living it." And after that, I was like, "Oh boy, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?"
Yeah. Yeah, it was very interesting. There was a lot of like slipperiness and not really like no answers. I think that's the problem. I could have done a better job holding him to giving me solid answers, but I'm just very distracted and excited about our merch situation tonight, I think. So I'm just kind of like letting these people talk, and which is still interesting in its own way.
Yeah. He also had a more interesting prompt that I saw literally as we were dropping his call. His prompt was so much more interesting than anything he talked about. It was like something, what was
Christian men are more devoted than
like
atheists.
I would have wanted him to talk about that actually. And I wish I had brought him back there because that I would have liked to learn more about.
I think sometimes people call in with a strong claim and then they get on the line with us and they suddenly in this guy's case it kind of sounded like he was trying to be more nice and stuff, which is I love a civil conversation. I care a lot more about us having a productive conversation. So
yeah, for sure,
don't be afraid to like actually hold your ground and tell us what you're going to say. And if you're worried that we're going to be offended by it, what does that say about your argument? Anyways, I want to get through these last two callers, but real quick, can I read some of the orders that came in?
Yeah.
You read the last ones, right? And a reminder, we will get to super chats of $5 or more at the end of the show still, but we're also reading messages that come in when you guys purchase merch. This one is from Pat. Wait, I'm not seeing the message. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Also, where did any of this go?
I think one of them didn't have a message, so that could have been that one.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Pat got the black and hot pink chewed gum shirt. Thank you so much, Pat. And then, and Ryan also no message. Wait. Yeah, Ryan doesn't have a message either, but Ryan got, I love this color combo. It's the pink, don't apologize to him, and then the light blue chewed gum hoodie. Very
so cute.
Perfect. Love that. Thank you, Ryan. And then we have from Raven. I hope you're having a great day. Even Alyssa. I am. Thank you. Also, shout out to the line mods. Jimmy, you're an asshole. I know that this is like you guys' jokes on here about like go fuck yourself, Jimmy, and stuff. But as somebody who like loves Jimmy and considers myself a close friend, like considers him to be a dear friend of mine, I always feel like so sad reading these like Jimmy, you're an asshole and go fuck yourself, Jimmy, because I'm like Jimmy's actually one of the best humans I know. Anyways,
I know,
love it. Joe got the hot pink and black shirt. Love the merch. Shame lines are full, so can't chat tonight. Yeah, the lines were so packed. Thank you guys so much for calling in tonight. We have two more we'll get through. We just had a lot of excitement going on. And then let's see, are there more? 2 more. We've got John, who purchased a water bottle, the orange one. Says, been waiting for some merch, going to make a great Festivus gift. Oh, I love that. Yeah, guys, get your Christmas gifts. That's another good idea.
Yeah.
Get them now, and then you don't have to worry about it like I will frantically at the last minute.
100%.
And that's the last one I've got for now. Shall we take this theist and then we'll do our last call and then call it?
Yes,
how many times can I say call in one sentence? Okay. Hey, May, you are live on the line with Eve and Alyssa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing well. What do you want to chat with us about tonight?
So, actually, I really wanted to start off strong and let you know I'm happy to sit here with you tonight and hold my ground and let you know why it is that I believe being a Christian woman is one of the best benefits to the world.
Okay, cool. And by the world, do you mean like all humans that are in it, a specific group? Just want to make sure we're all on the same page with what your claim is.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that it benefits every human being.
Okay, let's hear why.
Okay, so some traits that I personally find that I follow just per even an overview.
Sorry, real quick, May. Sorry, I meant to ask this as well. Christian, is there a specific denomination, or do you like what would you qualify as a Christian?
Personally, I would say Orthodox.
Okay, specifically Orthodox. Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm good to proceed.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. So personally, again, traits that I find I follow personally on an everyday basis, even an overview for just Googling, who is Christian life good for? Who is it beneficial for? There's so many traits that I personally find I've literally followed since childhood up until my adult life today. And I would truly say that one of those is being a part of a community.
Okay.
Okay.
But you can have communities.
Do you have to be a Christian? Yeah.
Yeah, you can have communities that are outside of religion, and they can be very fulfilling, and you can have a lot of shared interests and shared values and shared morals. So I don't know that they have to be that the religious community is any different than having any other community, unless you have a reason to feel otherwise.
I definitely would be able to say that, do we not all as humans prefer to be around people that usually think and have the same beliefs, the same feelings, and the same thoughts of us? So, yes, I understand that you can definitely have communities outside of religion. Sure, there's no issues with that. But usually, for example, I have seen a lot on the line, and you guys as hosts personally, when you don't like something that someone fights on your beliefs or your thoughts, you hang up on people. So you're not even willing to listen out to anyone that has different beliefs.
Nope. So I'm going to correct you on that. It's not people having different beliefs than us that makes us hang up on somebody. When somebody is being disrespectful, when they're and this, we've hung up on atheists before. So this is not about different beliefs. It's behavior that happens on here. So if somebody is being outright hateful or rude, the number one reason I think I've hung up on somebody like 2 times. If somebody is just not engaging honestly and continues to talk over me, then we're not having a conversation. And it is my role as a host to ensure that we get through calls and we move forward. If I'm in person having a conversation, I will sit there for hours and talk to somebody. Now, if they start yelling in my face, I'm going to get up and I'm going to remove myself from the conversation because I value myself more than that. So that's not about a difference in beliefs. That's about me, first of all, valuing the show and wanting to do a good job and do what I've been hired to do. I'll let Alyssa speak to this. I'm assuming she's probably somewhere along the same lines. So it's not about that. It's an interesting thing that you decided to take the call there, though. Anyways, Alyssa, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, and I agree. We just had I think 45 minutes of this 145-minute show, at a minimum, has been people who disagree with us, and we didn't hang up on them. So as long as they're being respectful, then we'll go back and forth with them for as long as the conversation ends up being productive. But because it's a show that we have limited time to conduct, even if they are being, polite enough, and they aren't being disrespectful to us at a certain time, sometimes it's just like, okay, we're not getting to the end of this. And you saw, like, similar to what Eve just did with the caller we had before, it's like, okay, let's boil down what conversation you want to have, and then you're welcome to call back. And we've done that with people, even when they have been, like, maybe not the most polite, maybe they're kind of being rude. We're not trying to kick them off the phone, but we only have, this is our Tuesday night too, and we both have jobs in the morning, So we've gotten that complaint before from people who want to see us get. In my experience, it's been people who are upset that we're not going to sit here and be berated on our own show where we control, how we're being treated on it. So I don't think that that's a fair criticism to give us.
Okay, and I happily, again, respect your decisions on that topic, and I'll leave it at that. But I'll happily go into my next point if you're willing to hear that out.
Sure. We're waiting.
Okay. Alrighty, so definitely, again, I think another one that I follow on a daily basis, and I would hope every other human being does, is those who want to be a good person, being merciful, being forgiving, and loving to others. And that is a direct reflection of Christ's behaviors and beliefs that humans should serve to others, and should be willing enough that if you are able to serve that person, you're not expecting to be served out of them.
What do you think about the caller we had earlier who said that he would reject his own child if his child came out as gay?
At least I can say personal experience. I have had an experience like that in my family. And at the end of the day, there's so much guilt and resentment that person holds because that person has no contact with him. So, and I will not say that person or that relationship is Christian following or religious in any way. But again, I will never speak for anyone else and the decisions that they choose to make.
Do you think that it is right for a Christian to reject a child based on them being gay?
I personally would be able to say Seraphin Rose is even one of the biggest gay examples in the Orthodox Church.
I'm just asking. I just want your answer. Do you think, yes or no, that it is okay or right for a Christian to reject their child based off of their sexual identity?
No.
Okay, awesome. We can move forward.
Once again,
but I
will
also
just finalize that point. Okay.
Sure, go
ahead.
sorry,
go right ahead.
You could,
no. You don't
go,
want to interrupt.
Okay, I was just going to say, this is also, you can be accepting of others and want to serve others without doing that because it is in the name of God. One of the things that I think is interesting too about these types of conversations is, in my opinion, it feels, and I don't know, maybe this is like, I almost don't even want to like make this point because it feels sort of like, I don't know. I'm just going to say it because I feel like I have to. I think it's interesting to say that a Christian style is beneficial for people based on these positive parts of it, like service to others, accepting all people, not lying, not cheating, not, coveting your neighbor's wife, all of these sort of like morals and values. Because in my opinion, it feels like if I am going to hold myself to that standard because I just think it's common decency And I think it's just nice to be kind to others. And I think that it is what contributes to successful communities and humanity continuing and being productive. And we need each other. Humans need communities. We need each other. And I don't personally feel like I need a God to dictate that behavior for me. And I also wonder sometimes, and this is based sort of in like my personal experiences, I wonder for some of the people that I see who are in my personal life who are Christian, is the reason that they're going to continuously give to a charity because it will guarantee their way into heaven? Is the reason that they're in church every Sunday because that means they're going to go to heaven? Like, is the reason why being a Christian and doing all of these positive things is so that it's good for everyone else? Because if so, then you don't need to be a Christian to do all of those things. But by being a Christian and doing all of those things, it almost feels like a selfish good deed. It reminds me of like that episode of Friends where like they're trying to find the one selfish good deed. And they spend the whole episode trying to figure it out. And it feels like sometimes when it comes to doing good deeds in the name of religion and in the name of God, it feels like selfish good deeds to me sometimes. And that could also be sort of like based in, my personal experience and knowing people who do those things. And then they're like not very aligned with other parts of them. But
May, do you mind real quick, just because we're at the end of the show already, but I want to, give you this conversation. We can have you call back if we reach a middle point or something. But I think I can speed it up by asking you this. What is an aspect of Christianity that is exclusive to Christianity that would be a benefit to women and the rest of the world?
So honestly, as I am able to speak from experience, and I personally have a devout, religious, loving man to myself, and I do plan to have future children with him. And, all of the things that I find have been beneficial to me as a Christian woman, being able to bring that to him and my future children, serve him, knowing that my children are going to be raised with the ideals of the both of us, and knowing that they're going to have a good life to follow with the values and loving and merciful and forgivingness that we as Christians would go ahead and give to any other person.
But do you know that those values aren't exclusive to Christianity? Maybe I need to ask my question again. What is something exclusive to Christianity? Meaning it's a benefit that cannot be found outside of practicing Christianity.
One of the best points, and I will leave my call off on this because it is very profound to me in every which moment. My man told me that you are my bride. The church is the bride of Jesus, and he died for his bride. And I know for a goddamn fact, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on YouTube, that man would die and put his life on the line for me and my future
I know that
children.
about my
so I will say
I
that
know
is
that
what
about
is
my
profound to Christianity, and
I
why
know that about my
I, as a
atheist
Christian
husband.
woman, will follow by
I know that about May. I know that about my atheist husband. There are atheists that have died for their wives before. There are atheists that die in war for people that aren't even their wives. That is not exclusive to Christianity. What is something exclusive to Christianity that is a benefit?
Again, I'm sorry if I have to leave the call off on this. I will die by that fact, and your atheist husband can marry you on a lie. So,
May, it is a fact
rude.
that atheists have died for people. It is an actual fact that atheists have died for other people. They've risked their life and lost it in process.
Themselves.
And
all I hear from
May,
atheists is that it's all about you and yourself.
But May, you want to know what's interesting about that?
I'm going to leave my conversation off on that.
Okay.
And Eve, I appreciate
May, why
your
can't
time.
you answer
Alyssa,
the question?
I appreciate your time.
No, May, why can't you answer the question? What is something exclusively beneficial to Christianity?
Because
that's not
here's
it.
the other thing. Your example is that your husband would die for you. Your husband also believes that he has eternal life and that his life afterwards is going to be better than his one here. So why is it that your situation and your man is better than Eve's, who believes that when he dies, there will be nothing, and he still would die for her, knowing that he is not going to experience heaven? So that was a little frustrating for me to hear too, because it felt like you were being pompous, and then you said you tried to like make it sound like, well, your man's lying to Eve, when in reality what you're saying is your man is being selfish, because at the end of the day, even if he dies for you, he thinks he's going to go to heaven, and Eve's does not, and he still would.
I also just looked up a list of famous stories, real stories that actually happened, of atheists that died protecting the lives of others, that put their lives on the line to protect others. So again, it's okay, May. I understand. I'm happy for you that you have a husband that loves you. That's wonderful. Now I'm asking you a real question. What is something that is exclusive, meaning it can only be found within Christianity, that is a positive, that is a benefit?
Eve, I will be happy to answer that question for you. But do you mind if I ask you a personal question about an interview that you had with Seth?
No, I would like for you to answer the question, May. This is not about some emotional where you get
no
to the
reason,
question.
Because there is an absolute
May,
point you made in that interview with Seth.
May,
if
you can send
wanted
me,
to answer for me
May,
today
I'm going to mute
personally,
you.
I can.
I'm going to mute you. I would have been happy to talk to you and answer whatever questions if you were being straightforward and honest. And also, you've just been insulting me over and over again, and I've still been patient with you. You are welcome to call back and ask that question sometime, or you can email me, or you can message me. I do live sometimes where you can ask these things. We're in the middle of a conversation. It doesn't matter who I am or if you've ever heard of me before. This is just a question in this conversation we're having, which is, what is something that is exclusively beneficial to, or exclusively found in Christianity that is beneficial? I've asked this many times now, and if you're stopping to ask a personal question about me and my life, that shows me that you're not wanting to answer this question. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love for you to prove me wrong. I'll give you a last chance to answer the question. And then if you want to ask me personal questions, you're welcome to email me. You're welcome to call back another time and be honest and say that that's why you're calling. So do you have an answer for my question? You're still talking? Yeah. May, that's really disrespectful. We're actually trying to engage with you and giving you a chance to answer, and you're not even listening.
Do apologize. Talked a little bit before the beep that I expected, so that was my bad. I will apologize to you for that, out of respect.
Okay, can you answer my question, and then I'm happy to answer yours. I've asked this one. Okay. I asked it earlier. You still haven't answered it. What is something exclusive to Christianity that is beneficial?
So specifically in your interview, you said that your marriage was only to benefit
are you going
you.
to answer the question? Are you going to answer the question? Oh my God. Do I let her keep going?
I want to actually hear what it is that she, the way that I want to know how she wants to answer this question.
But I think it's just a question. We'll find out.
Yeah.
May?
Oh, she's still muted here. I'll unmute her.
It says unmuted on my end. May?
Yes.
So your answer to my question is?
I've tried to answer it multiple times for you, but I keep getting muted, so I don't know how to proceed answering this to make it straightforward where it is exclusive to not only Christianity, but also
the answer to your question should have nothing to do with me.
See that reflected in.
Okay. So I would love to see how you're going to turn this around. It should have nothing to do with me, whatever your answer is.
Okay, not reflecting you. I can say exclusively to Christianity, and in my views of Orthodox Christianity, and my personal experiences from my relationship and all of the women aspects I look up to in Christianity, if you think about it, the Virgin Mary saved the world by giving her utmost purity and love for the world to hold our Jesus Christ. So, not only am I willing to serve and follow a man who does believe in all of these views, but because it doesn't serve me, he benefits me and has always been a great purpose of someone I'm willing to surrender to and serve because of those views that he has for women. So that is what I find exclusively important to my Christian views at this time.
Well, that wasn't my question. My question isn't what's important. What's exclusively beneficial. And I have to be totally honest, I did not follow anything you just said.
Benefits.
So there are no exclusive benefits to Christianity.
So a woman saving the world is not a complete and utter benefit showing the Christian views towards the entire world.
You'd have to provide me evidence that that happened. What's your evidence that the world got saved by somebody and that exclusively came from Christianity? Because let me give you a hint. Mary wasn't a Christian. She wasn't a Christian. She was Jewish.
So you're telling me that the Virgin Mary did not save the world by carrying our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's what you're telling me right now, because if that is your belief, I do not believe
that a virgin, I don't believe that a virgin carried a child that became a god. I just don't believe that happened. You'd have to convince me that that happened at all for me to think that was cool. And I don't think the world was in any danger that a child born of a virgin then prevented the world from encountering.
So, yeah, then literally to the points that I was trying to make apparent to you that are beneficial.
Is your husband there telling you what to say? Is that what I hear in the background?
No.
Who was that?
Can absolutely advise I have my own family. That has nothing to do with my husband.
I'm just asking who was just speaking in the background telling you what to say.
Okay, and I have people running around my house doing things, and also people that...
Okay, that's all. I was just asking a question.
Are doing... Yeah, so I do apologize if you're hearing background noise, but no, at this time.
Okay, continue.
So, May, I think where we're gonna keep sort of like running into issues is what our question is how is Christianity beneficial to people regardless of, because you would have to prove that the Virgin Mary existed, was a virgin, gave birth to someone who is the alleged son of God. Yeah. You'd have to also have proof that, so ultimately where we're going to differ is faith. You have faith that has happened. We do not. And as a result, I have no interest in arguing with you over faith, because I think that it's sort of like we can't really argue that. If you have it, then you have it, and you have no interest in, not that you have no interest, but you have no need for proof because you have faith and that is your proof. What our question is how does the Christian lifestyle and believing in this God, believing that the Virgin Mary did these things, how does that better your life? That is where I think we're sort of struggling to feel like this conversation is being productive. Because personally, I have no interest in convincing you that you shouldn't have your faith. I don't really care. Like, if that's what you want to do, fine. And that's not really why you called, right? Like, I don't think you're calling to evangelize, but I would like to know why the whole purpose of this conversation was you feel like this has benefited you. And we're trying to understand that. And that, I don't feel like that point hasn't gotten across for us or for you. Like, I don't feel either of us feel like we've satisfied that point. And so maybe this can be something that you noodle on and call back, and see if there's a different way that you can present that point that doesn't hinge on us needing the faith in that story, because we don't believe that story, and no 20-minute call is gonna do that for us, you know. So I think that's sort of where we are going to not be able to cross paths, perhaps.
May, if you have personal questions for me, I am happy to answer them. Sometimes I can do that on this show. We have so many callers and we have other stuff we're doing tonight. And so the show isn't the Eve show. It's chewed gum and we try to stay on topic. However, you are welcome to ask me questions. My email address, it's evewasframed.contact@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. I get to them when I can. Also, I hope you're okay. And if you need any kind of help, if you want to reach out in that email, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have. Is there anything else you have for us tonight?
Nope, I'll be happy to call in at another time. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, May.
Tonight,
Good night, May.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good night.
Oh, I hope she's okay. I think her husband was in the background of that call the whole time. I think that's why she was pausing so hard between each thing. And now I'm concerned. I thought I heard him tell her what to say a couple of times. I hope she's okay. May, if you're listening to this, I hope you reach out via email. I'm happy to answer whatever that question is that you have about this Andrews episode. By the way, you guys should go listen to that on The Thinking Atheist. But yeah, please feel free to reach out if there's anything else that you need as well. Anyways, we have one last caller. Should we get to that?
Yeah, let's do it. This is an atheist caller, and I feel like this will be probably. It's a cute top,
go ahead.
though.
I'm gonna look. I know, but my AC kicked on, and I'm like shivering cold. It's okay. Let's take the call. I might look over for a hoodie in a second.
Okay.
I need my chewed gum hoodie.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, is this Aaliyah?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
Aaliyah. How's it going?
Hi. It's going good. I just kind of called because I recently found a study, and I think it's kind of points towards men being like genetically more inherently like violent, I guess. I've kind of heard that point refuted, like on both sides. So I was just kind of wondering, I guess, what you guys thought about that as well.
I feel like I don't think that there is a clear way to study that, because I think that men are so socialized towards violent solutions to things. Like, I don't think that, I mean, we know that empathy and emotion are not rewarded in traditional patriarchal structures. And so it's so hard to tell if it's a nature thing versus nurture. Like, I think it would be so hard to isolate that.
Why is it versus? Why can't it be both?
I think it could be both. But it would be hard to definitively say that they would be genetically predisposed to violence, because it could very well be both, or it could be like just the way that they're socialized. But I think because the possibility for it to be both is so present, is so there, I don't know. It would be hard to say. I'd be curious to see what sample they used for that study, like what the age range was, and like what period of time that they looked at.
The study's not referring to men specifically. It's over genetic predispositions and how you can
okay.
like genetically pass down certain predispositions and like memories and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So my the first question I would like my first thought was if we can pass down memories and it's known that we can pass down trauma like the way through like Holocaust victims they pass down genetically their trauma and like victims of slavery like they pass down theirs. So it was kind of like that line of thinking, if that makes sense. Is that
Yeah,
like
that does it does make sense. That's interesting. And someone in the chat also said there, I don't know if this is the same study that you're referencing, but that testosterone is linked to violence as well, or like a higher rate of violence. I don't know. I like studies like this. I've been having this is like sort of a personal thing that I'm going through, where studies about that are very like black or white about human behaviors have been stressing me out because there's so many things that go into them. And then and I'm also now thinking about like sort of like the ancestral memory type of thing where like if your ancestors have had this experience that it almost like carries on through you, and you might also experience some of like a trauma response that an ancestor might have also experienced is interesting. And I also then again wonder if if what you're experiencing is the result of, let's say you have a grandparent who was a Holocaust survivor, are you sensitive to those stories and those experiences because it's someone that you're close to and is sharing those experiences with you? Like I don't know. I want to read this study. Oh wait, okay. Did someone?
I can send the study that I'm referring to in chat if you'd like.
Yes. Yeah, please send it to me because I feel like I have so many questions and I want to read it all because I'm so intrigued by this, and I want to know more about how
Yeah,
exactly they did this and what they found.
of course. I read through the study. I'm not exactly sure how they did it. I just went over the general document
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
got it. So
It's so
sorry, let
interesting.
me
Oh, is it?
okay. I posted it in chat.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, it's interesting. And Arden is in the chat too, and she said that she's curious about why it matters to like define if something is socialized or if it's
Or
genetic,
yeah.
because ultimately like the solution would probably be, like Arden said, the solutions are probably the same. And I wonder too about that because like bad behavior is bad behavior regardless of whether we were genetically predisposed to it or it's the result of the way that we were raised. Like we know if you hit somebody, the consequence of you hitting somebody is the same whether you were genetically predisposed to it or if you were socialized to believe that that's something that's acceptable to do.
I think personally, if it is true, I think it changes the way that I would interact with, I guess, a lot of men, and also it would, sorry, also what men like were choosing to reproduce with, like that. Does that add like a new standard? Should I be staying away from should I not like include men who are very predisposed to this violent behavior into like the pool of like people that I'd be like maybe reproducing with, that kind of
The
thing.
problem is that's the same. You have to think that through no matter what. If like socially men are conditioned to be more that way. So to Arden's point, I think it's still there's this, the solution is going to be the same either way.
I mean, I understand how the solution could be similar, but does that not change the, like, what pool of men you would be interacting with in the first place and how cautious you would be regarding them and starting a family?
I'm personally cautious around all men, mostly around all people, until a given reason not to. And so I don't think I would feel comfortable just ruling out an entire, like, I don't know what you're implying, like saying like men should have genetic testing for how individually they're prone, because in that case there are a lot of men that are genetically prone to, and women, to substance abuse. And I'm not ruling somebody out just because they're one of the 50% of people that are prone to that. I'm ruling them out based off of themselves and how they how self-disciplined they are and how responsible they are and how what efforts they've put in to not have this negative trait that I don't want to experience in my life. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Because I think that's just too big of a, I just really don't feel comfortable ruling out people groups based off of genetics like that. I don't know. Something about that feels really icky to me.
Yeah, because that's a slippery slope into eugenics, and I don't.
Yeah, I think it's
like
kind of
that.
like a really fast slippery slope. Yeah. Sorry, Alyssa, you were saying.
I even think that there's the whatever you're genetically predisposed to, you also don't want to discount the work that people may or may not do to kind of like undo that. Like there are people who are aware, for instance, that they have they're predisposed to substance abuse, and so they decide that they're going to stay sober throughout their lifetime and they're not going to engage with any of that stuff at all. And so in that case, you're kind of like negating the risk there. And for people who maybe grew up in households that had really poor communication skills that might have been like, I guess maybe could be interpreted as violent or aggressive, maybe they spent years and years in therapy to find ways to counteract that behavior, maybe that learned or genetic behavior. They found ways to work on that, and like they've dedicated the time and the energy into doing that. And so you don't want to discount that either. So I think this is why I've been having a hard time when I read things about human behavior and it being so like too straight of a line from this biological thing to this human behavior, because there's so much that influences human behavior along the way that it's like hard to draw that straight line all the time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but this is super interesting, and I am going to read the study. I have it up here, and I can't wait to dig into it. I've not heard of this yet. Oh my God, it's from 2012. Where have I been?
Yeah, it's really weird finding all of these studies that have been public for so long, yet no one's talking about them, and I think that they're very important to pay attention to.
They're so interesting, and I love when people bring these up, because like there's no way that any one person is going to know every fact about everything, and I will never pretend to be that person. And so I would so much rather people bring these up and bring them to conversations, because now I get to learn something new, and we get to have a really interesting conversation. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you appreciating it.
And I appreciate you appreciate we could go back and forth all night long, but we'll let you go. Thank you so much for calling. I can't wait to dig into this and see what I find.
Yeah, thank you. You have fun with that.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You guys have a good night. You
Bye.
too.
Bye. All right.
This may be a record for how long the show has gone with the two of us on. We're usually so like
I know.
I'm still
I
just
had
like, I'm glad
the
Thea's still
energy for
calling
it.
in. I'm
Yeah.
really glad. And most of them were like fine calls. I actually think, if anything, I could have done better on some of those calls and got some more helpful answers in sooner rather than later. I'm very concerned about May. But anyways, let's
Yeah.
get to, let's see. I think we had one last.
2 more orders, and then we actually have a lot of super
good.
chats, so we'll probably have to be short
We'll just read
with our
through.
answers. Yeah.
Okay, we'll read through fast. We won't make comments unless somebody asks a specific question.
Okay.
Okay, so the orders, let's see. We have Alejandra, and they got the "Don't Apologize to Him" in black. Love it. Said, I've been helping my mom with her divorce from my dad, and he's pissed about it. I'm going to wear this to the next hearing. That's actually amazing. I love that so much. All the love to your mom. So sorry that's happening. Okay, then we have Jesse says, Jesse got the water bottle and says, it's about time merch came out for this phenomenal, in all capital letters, show. Keep up the great work. This will be a great holder for my booze. That's amazing.
Love it.
I love that so much. Thank you, guys. It's been so fun to see you all get excited about the merch like we are. Alyssa, you want to take the first one?
Yes, $9.99 from Jeff Salinoy. Whatever. You should have Katie Montgomery as a guest host. I don't know who Katie Montgomery is. Do I know who that is?
Probably.
Katie was the original co-host with me on Takis. We started the show.
Oh my God.
But she's been on a bit of a hiatus. I would let her know though.
Okay.
That she'd be welcome.
Thanks,
sure.
Jeff. 666 from Melatonin Ale. When my mom asked my bro to help her talk to my dad about his abusive behavior, he told her she needed to forgive him and submit so God would help. My reaction is the same as those emojis.
Yeah. 50 pounds from Herbie Shine. Okay. Unfortunately, there isn't any merchandise. Sorry, I can't say merch that I can find interest in. I'm trying to get rid of stuff, so I don't want to buy more stuff. Instead of buying merchandise, take some English pounds as an alternative to merchandise. Thank you, Herbie. That is incredibly
Thanks
kind.
so much, Herbie. You're always so supportive. $5 from Alyssa Wynn. Blessings and forgiveness available while supplies last. Interpretations and participation may vary. Void where prohibited. Offer not valid in Utah. Amazing.
I love it. $10 from the Raven. 200 is the embodiment of dishonest precept. So full of himself. Okay. So full of himself that he can't comprehend anything past his own worldview. I wouldn't let my non-existent daughter anywhere near someone like him. Yeah. Agreed.
$4.99 from Logan Fisher. The irony of Christians claiming gender and sexuality are choices while also proclaiming that original sin is the cause of all evil is killing me. Well said. Thank you, Logan.
Yeah. $10 for Monkey, a typewriter. That first merch purchase was me. Guess y'all know my actual name now. Eve, you pronounced it correctly though, so bravo. Seriously though, want to send me a bonus for generating death as a hashtag. So much love. Oh, wait, that's so crazy. I'm not gonna like go back and figure out.
We won't dox you again.
I won't dox you, but I want to know just for my own. That's crazy. Oh my God. Yay. Aw.
$10 from Hepa. If we're talking about what's beneficial to people and discussing the facts of reality, you don't get to go to it's just your opinion, because now that's being dishonest AF. Yeah. Good job, you two. Thanks, Hepa.
Yeah. $5 Boricua 10. Livid. Anyone who proudly displays conditional love from bigotry isn't a good person. Any attempts to justify are bullocks. Be well, y'all. Exhale. Yeah, that was frustrating. That was really frustrating.
$5 from Shauna Silverbow. How do you get Pikachu on a bus? Pokemon. That's really good.
Cute.
Thanks, Shauna.
$5 from Jamnik06. What's Pikachu's favorite song? The Hokey Pokemon. That's funny.
$9.99 from Philip Kelly. Good day equals is Takis or chewed gum on today? Aw, thank you. Honored.
$5 from Mr. Boricua 10. Don't doubt it. As Jimmy said, your show adds so much to the dialogue and nothing but good, important work comes from it. I wholly agree with him. Thank you.
Aw, thank you. $20, thank you, from Moira Bannister. John fucking give the Old Testament a plain text reading without spin, without redefining words, and then try to tell us that it doesn't defend gross immorality. Yep.
$19.99 from Narrative Dude. Eve, it's wondrous that you're hosting or co-hosting other line productions. Eve, are you doing other gigs beyond Chewed Gum? Also, would love to see. What did I say, Eve?
Yeah.
Oh, Alyssa, me. Are you doing other gigs beyond Chewed Gum? Also, would love to see Natalia Reagan co-host here. Just bought 2 water bottles too. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
I was going to do the Sunday show, and I ended up or maybe something on Saturday. I don't know. My schedule is a little tough, especially in October. So I would love to do other shows, and at some point, I'm sure I will. But probably not this month because this month is a little crazy town.
We're the lucky ones that get her. So pretty
every
happy
Tuesday.
$5 every Tuesday. $5 from the Raven 200. If your faith has you unwilling to answer basic yes or no questions, your faith is irrational. Jimmy, go take an air cutter. Win dance by Tamari. Thanks, the Raven.
$10 from Git Stanfield. The Christian life is so good for humans who have a predisposition for religiosity. As long as there isn't any legislative action taken towards others who don't follow said religion, we are all good.
Yeah, the problem is it's very difficult for them to stick with that.
Sorry.
Thanks, Git. $9.99 from Kevin Sweet. Be honest with yourself and others. Please human responsibly. Agreed. Thanks, Kevin.
$5 from Alishana Silverbow. Why did the Scarecrow win an award for his work? He was outstanding in his field of #Spooktober. Oh, outstanding in his field. #Spooktober, #death.
Thank you. $10 from Jamnick06. Jimmy is awesome, yet he is not fond of receiving compliments. So out of respect, we tell him to go fuck himself. Fair enough.
Oh.
Also, why can't you blindfold a Pokemon? Because it's going to Pikachu. That's really cute and funny. #Darth Vader. That was a great joke.
That's so funny. $5 from Nicole Daniels. Oh no. I started the yawning thing and now it's not going to stop. I'm so sorry.
I'm
so sorry.
Straight to bed. I'm with you.
Oh yeah. $5 from Nicole Daniels. Just wanted to say Dungeons and Dragons is a community as well. And a lot of the people I've met there are respectful of me being an atheist. Exactly.
Love that. Love it.
Love it.
$5 from Moira Bannister. At May, did Christ forgive the fig tree? Good one. That's such a weird story.
I don't know that story. $10 from Amish Bob. Recently deconstructed, grateful for my daughter's sake. I saw how toxic my beliefs were and have custody of her. The ex is fighting me for custody. I'll fight to raise her in a loving, inclusive home.
Oh, that's amazing, Bob. Well, good luck to you. $4.99 from Matsu Jackie. Y'all are queens. Congratulations to Eve for getting married, by the way. Thank you on both accounts. Thanks so much.
$50 from Nini Squee. I don't know how to say that. Thank you so much.
That's trying to say that so much.
Thank you. That's such a generous.
Oh, here we go. And then, here we go. Aw.
Okay. Love the show and first time getting to see live. Also, first time doing a super chat and did the first with no message. Oops. Keep up the great work.
Aww.
Thank you so
Thanks for the
much.
follow-up.
That was really, really kind.
$4.99 from Philip Kelly. May, why do you hang up on people? Hold my beer. That was wild. That whole call, because immediately it seemed there was a time when I really thought she was gonna hang up on us. And I wanted to laugh about this call, and then toward the end, it got pretty dark and sinister, and I'm concerned for her. So that was a wild.
Yeah, that was a little adventure. Concerning.
Yeah.
$5 from Moira Bannister. Way to be classy with May Alyssa, even when she absolutely did not deserve it.
And Alyssa had my back too, which was really sweet of her. So
Well,
thank you for
that
that,
was
Alyssa.
really mean. That was really mean. The hell?
Yeah, there was clearly a personal thing at play, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what the deal is with the husband. Very interesting. Kind of hope she calls back or emails me. It sounded like it's very personal and emotional to her. So, anyways, $5 from Alyssa Wen. It just occurred to me that Takis has been cis-Atlantic a lot lately, while this show has been largely transatlantic. What gives? Do you mean like the callers?
I think
That-
Alyssa means like across the ocean. So it used to be Katie's in the UK, and it used to be that's why it's called Takis. So it's transatlantic.
I
And then
see.
you were over in what
I
shit.
get it. I'm just slow.
That's so
I was
funny.
in Finland.
Yeah, Finland.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you for
That's
helping my
funny.
slow brain.
Sorry, I'm right there with you. I'm yawning.
We're all.
I know. I
The slumber
started like
party
a
is
yawn trade.
starting. Yeah. Oh man.
$5 for Mr. Boricua 10. It's been frowned upon in Hispanic/Latin community to show a softer side. Can't show that side, else we get labeled a pejorative, slow improving. Yeah. A lot of communities have that, like, that cultural dynamic. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And unfortunate.
£5 from Herbie Shine, wondering if May's husband has been banned from calling and so got her to phone. That is a very interesting thing. Hope she's okay. Sounded a little off. Yep, totally agree. Thanks, Herbie, for the support again. Yeah, who knows? Something didn't sound right.
$5 for Moira Bannister. It's weird how women date men. Like what? Imagine if men could only date and procreate with a tiger bear. So where are we going tonight? Harm. Oh my god.
Oh, that's good, Moira. $5 from Monkey at Typewriter. Where does a mansplainer get their water? A well, actually. And don't worry, I'm not like hiding my ID. I just don't want to show up on search engine. Totally
Fair.
understand. I don't want to show up on search engine either. Oh man. And yet I do.
$10 from One-Eyed Heathen. I just want to voice emotional support for May. You are a full person worthy of your own thoughts and opinions. I hope you reach out to the hosts of the show. Yeah, that's really sweet. And yeah, totally.
That's very sweet.
I appreciate that she was wanting to be like very calm and like level, but there was something sort of alarming about the way that she was going about it. Like she was giving me like really, I said it in the chat, she was giving me like really confusing vibes like from the start. So
yeah,
I hope she's okay, and I hope that she does reach out to either one of us at any time.
Yeah. $5 from
Sorry.
SJL, $5 for Alyssa making me yawn. On that note, thank you all so much for all the support tonight and for getting through those calls with us. I am so thrilled that you all like the merch. We were really excited about it. I can't wait to have our own, and we'll all just be matching together. Don't forget to go check it out if you didn't already at linemerch.com. Also, of course, we have our Patreon, patreon.com/calltheline. But thank you guys so much, and we'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much, Arden, for everything tonight and for the merch. You are amazing, and thank you so much to the moderators, screeners, all of you. Y'all are the best.
Thank you, and everyone, stay safe if you're affected by the hurricane. Please be careful.
Oh yeah,
I know Dylan
please
is evacuating. Yep. Please be careful. Please be safe. We'll be thinking of you.
Agreed.
We love you.
Special